Tonight on the Black Channel, no, your Humpty eyes do not deceive you. Luther Campbell has announced that he wants to run for Congress. No, it's not clickbait or anything else. As a matter of fact, it was a rather interesting interview that he did here on This Week in Southern Florida. Very interesting here, and it really checks all the boxes when you hear who it is he wants to run for. And he's going to make that clear in absolutely no uncertain terms who it is he plans on representing.
Election season underway, and some South Florida races are already stealing the spotlight, which we may add to in the next few minutes. Today is the day rap music exec, youth football coach, free speech fighter, civic activist Luther Campbell identified as his self-imposed deadline to decide whether to make a run for Congress. Uncle Luke made South Florida history for taking on and winning free speech protections for his music that law enforcement labeled as obscene. That was back in the 90s. His roots and his activism in the community run deep, and he unloads on issues regularly on his broadcasts, podcasts, and as a columnist. Luther Campbell right here today, hopefully with some answers. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Great to see you.
I feel like I'm a fixture here.
You can be a fixture here anytime, you know that.
Well, you know.
So you are the king of promo and tease. So we've been listening, will he or won't he, whatever. But you know what? The biggest sign that something's coming is that you resigned from that beloved coaching position at Edison High a couple of weeks ago. Well, why did you resign, and what's going on?
Well, basically, I had to.
No, I'm stopping here to let you know. I've already heard all this before. Wait till you just asked him a question. And wait till you hear what his response is here, because when people ask us about delineation or try to give us a hassle about that, listen to the first thing he says when she stops talking.
Right here today, hopefully with some answers. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Great to see you.
I feel like I'm a fixture here.
You can be a fixture here anytime, you know that.
Well, you know.
So you are the king of promo and tease. So we've been listening, will he or won't he, whatever. But you know what? The biggest sign that something's coming is that you resigned from that beloved coaching position at Edison High a couple of weeks ago. Well, why did you resign, and what's going on?
Well, basically, I had to. You can't do two things at one time.
I can, maybe you can.
Well, yeah, I'm a Jamaican, so us Jamaicans, we normally have like 12 different jobs anyway. But
nigga, what?
Okay. Very first thing out the gate, the first thing he wants to do is identify himself. He didn't say I'm a black American, which goes to the heart of everything we said. Oh, he didn't say he was a black American. He wants to let you know I'm a Jamaican. He didn't even say I'm a Jamaican American. I'm a Jamaican. Keep that energy. Hold that energy, dude. I ain't telling you move off nothing. Hold that energy, and when we address you that way, and do not let you shift to any other label, you gave yourself the label, now you have to hold it. So first thing, as you all heard, the first thing out his mouth was an unsolicited self-identification. Well, I'm Jamaican. Yeah. So we just want to make sure, so we all on the same page here. Make sure you keep that energy, because we are going to insist that you do.
So we've been listening, will he or won't he, whatever. But you know what? The biggest sign that something's coming is that you resigned from that beloved coaching position at Edison High a couple of weeks ago. Well, why did you resign, and what's going on?
Well, basically, I had to. You can't do two things at one time.
I can, maybe you can.
Well, yeah, I'm a Jamaican, so us Jamaicans, we normally have like 12 different jobs anyway. But I looked at it. I looked at really seriously thinking about running in this race. I had to do the work of going into the different communities to talk to people.
The congressional race.
The congressional race, yeah. CD20, and I wanted to take a real serious look at it and go into the communities and talk to people, because if you know anything about coaching, year round. You know, you got to be
Yeah.
a father, you got to run your businesses, but then you coach year round. So I didn't want to do the kids a disservice while I was doing that. And, you know, hey, at the end of the day, once I did my due diligence, you know, I said, let me come to Glenna's show and let her know I'm going to run for Congress.
I'm curious, what kind of due diligence does Luther Campbell of 2 Live Crew do? A head count of how many strippers there are in the district? What? I don't know what due diligence for him would look like, but apparently he claims he did it. So, okay.
CD20.
There's the sound clip that everybody's going to be running later on. Well, welcome to the race,
Thank
candidate
you.
Uncle Luke. So take us behind. You actually were going to run for this seat 2 years ago.
Yes.
I remember. You actually did run for Miami-Dade mayor in 2011.
Yeah.
11?
Nigga, what?
Luther Campbell ran for mayor of Miami-Dade. Okay. All I can imagine is Kanye was running for president at the same time or something. I don't know what, 2011. Okay. Yeah, I mean, just the comic relief is all I can imagine he was running for.
20.
There's the sound clip that everybody's going to be running later on. Well, welcome to the race,
Thank you.
candidate Uncle Luke. So take us behind. You actually were going to run for this seat 2 years ago.
Yes.
I remember. You actually did run for Miami-Dade mayor in 2011.
Yeah,
11?
special election, yes.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. And in a field of, there were 11 candidates, you came in number 4. You had 11% of the vote as a first-time candidate. That was people thought that was very impressive.
Yes, with $10,000 in my my account.
Wow. So take us through all that you've done. You've played so many roles. You are a controversial figure in this community. That's factual.
Yes.
Take us behind the scenes of what made you decide this time, yes, and for this seat, and now.
Well, it's the perfect timing. I mean, just like you said, I was thinking about doing it within the last cycle, but it wasn't the right time because I need to do a lot of things, you know, to get myself prepared to do. I need to do more outreach to the community. It is a sitting Congresswoman that was doing the job.
So did you go door to door? Are you knocking on doors?
No,
What kind of outreach?
I just go meet with the stakeholders, not necessarily the politicians.
Yeah.
I go meet with, you know, individuals that's in the community, you
And
know,
what
and have conversations with them in Belgrade and Lauderhill Lakes.
Right, so for people who aren't familiar with Congressional District number 20, it's a lot of central North Broward.
Yes.
There's some southern western Palm Beach County.
Yes.
Okay, so you're talking about southern Florida there. So, is what she's talking about there. She's talking about southern Florida, not central, not panhandle, not any of that. So southern Florida. So the Haitians, if you're talking about the black population, I'm talking about, you know, the Haitians and folk from the Caribbean and the black ones who identify as from the Caribbean and whatnot. So you're going to have a lot of that going on is what she's talking about there. Very interesting because she's segueing into that. And hang on to your hats, kids. Now that she said that, listen to where he takes it
aren't
next.
Familiar with Congressional District number 20? It's a lot of central North Broward.
Yes.
There's some southern western Palm Beach County.
Yes.
What did you hear? How is this framing your platform for your run?
Well, what I heard and what I already know is it is a very underserved community, district. It's very underserved. The district, the representation of the district is not there. People want to be able to engage with their congressperson.
So are you saying Sheila Sherfullis McCormick as sitting congresswoman is not engaging enough?
Well, mainly, you know, let me tell you something. One thing about me, I looked at the race and I said, if the congresswoman was doing her job, then I wouldn't get in the race. That's not my thing. You know, just hopping in a race. If I wanted to do that, I would have did that before. So listening to the heartbreak of these people, when you go to Belgrade and Pahokee and these individuals.
Boy, take a look at that resume there. Take a look at that resume. Kind of thin. I mean, when they have to throw former member of 2 Live Crew on there, those are your political credentials. Remember when those porn stars, every time those white blonde porn stars run for governor in California, every time they have a governor's race in California, these porn chicks run. And I'm like, okay, yeah, this looks like the alternate universe version of that.
Issues are talking about the housing issue. They're talking about losing parole for. So listen.
Now I want to go back here just a little bit because I want you all to hear. I want you all to hear what he's about to say next. So that's why I'm backing up. I want you to hear this uncut, uninterrupted, and I want you to hear this whole sound bite he's about to give you.
That's not my thing. Just hopping in a race. If I wanted to do that, I did that before. So listening to the heartbreak of these people, when you go to Belgrades and Pahokee, and these individuals are talking about the housing issue. They're talking about losing a prison that employed so many people. And you talk about the sugarcane business, how it became automated and folks losing their jobs and how they got to get back and forward from West Palm Beach back to Belgrades. And when you sit there and have these conversations with people who run the homeless shelter over there and say, how did these people really get homeless? And you go into these various different areas in the district and you realize there are issues. I mean, in Riviera Beach, they got a water problem. They're low-key boiling their water because they're trying to do the right things and they just need good representation.
So, okay, so keeping it real. As, let's say, you are a freshman congressman from District 20 in Washington, what are you going to do about all of those things?
You go in and you get creative behind what's happening. I mean, Donald Trump and the rest of his cabinet has created things. They've gutted the Department of Education. So you got to figure out ways to get people educated that normally would. A young lady would normally go to nursing school. She can't go to nursing school. He's attacked all these different things. So you got to get creative. I mean.
Okay, first of all, Florida has no shortage of nurses. That's the first thing. They got plenty of nurses in Florida. However, if you think that they're gutting nursing programs or whatever, all right, fine. This all sounds perfectly admirable. Nothing out of the ordinary here. I mean, it's just okay. This doesn't sound like very much of a plan or a platform here. He seems to be marginally, tangentially informed on the issues. Nothing really groundbreaking here. So he wants to have more about nursing.
School. He's attacked all these different things. So you got to get creative. I mean, the most pressing issue in this district is TPS. I mean,
Now, did you hear him talk about yes, I'm stopping here. You heard him talk about all those other things. Well, there's housing, and there's the homeless, and there's the nurses. And then he tells you, but the most pressing thing is not nursing. Nope, not healthcare. Nope, not housing. Nope, not being homeless. Nope. The most important thing is temporary protected status. In other words, the illegal aliens. Temporary protected status is the most important thing to Luther Campbell.
He's attacked all these different things. So you got to get creative. I mean, the most pressing issue in this district is TPS. I mean,
temporary protected status.
Exactly. Last week, the federal judge, 2 weeks ago, federal judge blocked it.
Right.
Then they went back.
We report on that here.
Exactly. Then they went back to try and get it overturned on appeal. Now, you talking about 700,000 people in this district, 300,000 of these folks are here mostly on temporary status.
And in fact, I think it was actually the congresswoman who told me that Palm Beach County sees the most ICE raids currently in the state.
Exactly.
I have not independently verified that, but she had mentioned that. So let me, let's talk about the race.
But in this, not to cut you off, but in this race, who's going to be able to go talk to Marco Rubio? Who's going to be able to go talk to Donald Trump? Me. I'm the only one that can do that. Nobody else in this race he would respect. Nobody in this race. I mean, I got Marco Rubio on speed dial right now.
Both. You do?
Yes.
Can we call him?
Yeah, we can. I mean,
Well. Oh, Luther Campbell, so you, Marco Rubio and Trump got they whole hooks up in you already. Oh, So the Trump administration already got its hooks in you. He didn't just say Donald Trump. He said Donald Trump and Marco Rubio. Oh, so Trump's administration already got their hooks up in you, is what you're saying. You all ready, eh, boy? Okay. A few details we just needed to have filled in there for a moment, but now that you've given us the charity of filling it in for us there, thank you very much. We appreciate that. To let us know that, do you got them on speed dial, or do they have you on speed dial? And when they want something and need to get something done, they, like Jay-Z, they have their list of niggas in their Rolodex that they call when they need you to jump, and they say how high. They got their list of Negroes in their Rolodex. So for those of you who might have been wondering, Jason, was it really that serious? I mean, Jason, you saying that he wants to run for Congress for the illegals. Well, Jason, is it really like that? Yeah, it's really like that. You just heard him say he named a bunch of other issues and then tells you, but the biggest issue is temporary protected status. Oh, you mean illegals? Oh, the illegals. Yeah, that's why he started out, it's Jamaicans. Next part I'm about to say here is a bit of a personal commentary. Luther Campbell, that group of degenerates, and now in our current era, it has really put a lot of this into proper perspective. We were not okay with this back in the early 90s. This came out of nowhere. You go take a look at everything else that was happening in rap music. I mean, we talking about NWA, Public Enemy, The Resistance. Rap music became the music of the resistance. And then here comes Luther Campbell and the Two Live Fools. And all of a sudden, rap is not singularly focused on consciousness, singularly focused on our revolutionary heritage and culture of resistance. All of a sudden, we took a big old swerve off into the strip club. And then it is after this that you see the pedal to the metal and the big push to commercialize rap. And of course, it's all going to be about dancing the jig and then strip club culture, and away we go. When you have somebody sit up here and try to denigrate rap about the gangsters, let's be clear. When you listen to NWA's first album, what was the song that set the world on fire? F the police. It is not your academics that told us to resist. It is not your academics who told you to not accept injustice. It was not your academics that told you to fight back. In the words of Dr. John Henry Clark, it was the street cats. It was the gangsters. It was the G's who didn't take nothing off of nobody. Those were the ones that told everybody, hey, we ain't going to stand for this. We're not going to stand for it. Those are the ones who gave us the philosophy of resistance. And we have respected that. So when you listen to those rappers, when you heard that then, don't let some jackass go on Tucker Carlson or something and mislead you. What they were talking about was resistance and fighting the system. Because if you watch that documentary, Bastards of the Party, about the origins of the Bloods and the Crips and how that's directly out of the Panthers. Well, yeah, it's the gangsters in the neighborhood, the so-called gangsters. And what we were bumping and thumping was something totally different. So you see, when Rodney King got beat, black folk were driving around playing F the police. That was programming that came from us. So when the police were brutalizing folk, you already knew what to do. Because you got the soundtrack playing for the last 2-3 years. F the police. So that you are fearless in the face of injustice. Few years later, here comes 2 Live Crew. I will not say that they are a CIA op. I will just say if they were not a CIA op, they'll certainly do till the CIA op gets here. And then next thing you know, we have swerved off and all of a sudden we are talking about literally anything and everything except resistance against the system of white supremacy. You're talking about everything now except that. And this is when the tide began to turn. The next thing you know, they're not talking about gangsters as resistance. They're talking about, quote unquote, the gangster lifestyle. Next thing you know, it's all about hoes, pimping hoes and slamming Cadillac doors. White supremacy does not care what you're talking about, just so long as you're not talking about them. You can discuss anything you want to. Stop talking about them. Go watch the movie Terminator 2 Judgment Day. It came out at this time. 1991. It came out at that time. Go watch the t-shirt that John Connor, young John Connor, the future would-be revolutionary who saves the world. Take a look at the t-shirt he's wearing, Public Enemy. And yes, I understand it's double entendre, but the point of the matter is, go take a look at another movie. I think James Cameron produced Strange Days. Once again, similar theme there about rap and hip hop influences there. We were leading the culture as we do today. We were leading the culture, but that was the direction we were leading them in, and everyone recognized it. A culture of resistance. And our music was the soundtrack of that at a level that they thought they had seen the height in the 60s and 70s. They had no idea we were going to have it going by the end of the 80s. Hell yeah, you better get out there and derail it. And then you should not be surprised to hear that Luther Campbell, one of the chief architects of derailing that, oh yeah, Donald Trump, Donald Trump, he's got my OnlyFans. What? Yeah, Donald Trump and Marco Rubio, they both got my OnlyFans account number. That's Luther Campbell. That's Luther Campbell. And now he's telling you that he wants to run for Congress. Now, I think his chances of winning are about the same as your chances of flapping your arms and flying around the moon. But it shouldn't be surprising when you hear this and see this. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of folks out there who they're doing stuff for publicity stunts. Stephen A. Smith is, by the way, these people from these backgrounds and lineages, I wonder if they're getting a bonus for suggesting this kind of stuff. So, yeah. Chef Boyardee has a better chance of winning the presidency than Stephen A. Smith. Damn! Snoopy from Charlie Brown has a better chance of getting elected president than Stephen A. Smith does. However, like I say, it may be publicity stunt. I don't know. But for Luther Campbell to jump up and say this, and it's like, okay, Luther, if you're going to say something like this, at least let's take it seriously here. What are you offering? What's it going to be? What are we going to have? And he's telling you, well, vote for me because I'm going to look out for the illegals. His priority in his elderly years is, well, we really got to look out for the illegals, though. You'll notice He didn't say a word about black people, much less foundational anything. Did you notice he didn't say a word about that? He's still talking about that housing stuff he was talking about 4 years ago, but did you all notice he didn't say a word about that? Not a word about what else is going on here. Nothing. Nothing at all. In the chat room, there's somebody saying that you'll vote for him. I'm very glad you said that. Let's go ahead and get you up here on Zoom, and you can go ahead and explain that to us. You got 2 minutes to be on Zoom here. But there's somebody in the chat room saying that they're going to vote, they would vote for him. Okay, I'm glad to hear that. Very glad to hear that. So let's go ahead and get you up front and center so you can explain to everybody exactly why that is. This is why it is so good that we have the new black media, so that when we have conversations and discussions like this, if people say things like that, you can find out in real time whether or not these things are real, whether or not it's the class clown, whether or not folks are lying, which doesn't look good for him if he's like, okay, dude, you have no sport. No. But okay, you got somebody who claims I would vote for him. I'm very glad to hear that. So let's go ahead and get you on up here on Zoom. All right, we'll pin that to the top of the chat room there. And you can definitely go ahead and give us a call up here on Zoom. Now, folks, here's the thing here. I want you to be aware. I want you to be aware here that none of this stuff happens in a vacuum. Did you hear how the newscaster lady was talking so genteel and talking so nice? I mean, you never would have known that was the case. You would not have known that this was some pornographer rapper from the early, not washed up pornographer rapper from the early 90s. You wouldn't have known that. So do you see how genteel the newscaster was? And it's all giggling and grinning. So that lets you know what Luke has been doing down there. He has been assuring the establishment that he is no threat. For this woman to be sitting up here grinning as much as she is, that is because Luther Campbell has done exactly what I said. He has assured the establishment he's no threat. That's the first reason why you have to beware of him, because, hey, dude, nobody thinks you're a threat to anything. Why is it if Trump is so cool on you? Wait a minute now. Hold on a second. How beneficial can you be? How legit can you be if Trump likes you? Trump doesn't have a problem with you? Well, that sounds like we should have a problem with you. Trump does not consider you to be a threat. Trump considers you to be one of the good old boys. Well, okay, well, I don't think we need to support you then if Trump doesn't see you as a threat. You're no threat to him. He doesn't have a problem with you. Everything's fine. Well, yeah, there's the biggest reason not to vote for you. None of these people see you as a threat. Not the local media, the state media, national media, Donald Trump, Marco Rubio. All of them are cool with you. You're no threat to any of them. Well, there's our first clue right there about who owns you. There's our first clue right there, who owns you. And I'm not going to say he didn't have enough sense not to say it, but he let you all know what's really bothering him. He didn't want to run 4 years ago. He didn't want to run 2 years ago. But the illegal alien issue, now that motivates him. Look, let's be clear. No one is asking about delineation anymore because they don't know why. They know that there are dozens of examples of folk like Luther Campbell. They know there are dozens of examples of folk like him, and that this is the whole reason that we said, you know what, we ain't got nothing in common with this chaotic mess right here. We need to make sure the world knows we're not a part of whatever is going on here. So folk try to play dumb, but they know why. It's like, okay, as soon as you start separating yourself and then you're talking silly and your agenda is everything except what we own, it's like, okay, we got a separate category. We are putting you in a separate category now. Don't worry about the dominant society. We are going to pick you up and drop you over here in this other basket. You don't get to sit with us. And this is where we at now. So if your priority, you think the biggest issue is illegals, then you need to be counted among illegals and you need to go get support from the illegals. You ain't got nothing to say to us over here.
And deal with it.
We got nothing to talk about. Go over there and get your help from them. If you all agree with what I just said, give me the ballot box emoji in the chat room and hit the likes button for me. It's almost 4,000 people in here live right now. But if you agree with what I've said, give me the ballot box emoji in the chat room and hit the likes button for me and let folks know that this is what we own now. Let me jump over here on Zoom right quick. I got somebody on Zoom. If this is the person in the chat room, at least it should be, they can explain that to us. Okay, Ron, Sean, I don't know why you are laid down in the bed like an OnlyFans model.
Oh, shit, bro. I just wanted to join in, bro, and listen to y'all talk, bro. I love your channel, bro. That's it. I'm laying in the bed. My bad.
Okay.
Nigga, what?
All right, y'all. That's what they say. Man, Jason, you got a nice baritone. I just want to call up and hear it. This must be must be Uncle Luke's campaign finance manager.
What?
That might be Uncle Luke's finance campaign manager. I mean, the old boy was in the bed, sideways. He was laying on his side like he was auditioning for a Keith Sweat video from the 90s. So I'm just like, okay, I don't know where this call's about to go. I don't know if I want to go there. I mean, the lights was low and everything. So it's like, Jason, you said 2 Live Crew. You know, it's just, I just wanted to hear your voice, Jason. Okay. But it's not just there, folks. It's not just there. We're going to cover a few other bases here tonight. We're going to cover a few other bases because there's a reason why we're bringing this up. There's a reason why we're bringing it up and why we're saying it like this. So tonight we're going to have a little bit of Tethermania. We're going to have a little bit of Tethermania here tonight. We're going to have a little bit of that. So we start with Luther Campbell. And we moved on to Stephen A. Smith. From there, we go to the NYPD. And they have just announced, meet the NYPD Chief of Transportation, Olafumalola Obe. Try saying that 3 times fast. From Nigerian schoolgirl.
What?
To 3-star chief and lawyer, she climbed the ranks and turned her dream into a reality. With no plans to slow down, we honor her this Black History Month. What has been her contribution to Black history? You just identified her as Nigerian. Wait a minute now. You just said she was Nigerian, so how that's not a contribution to our history? You just disqualified her from it as soon as you said the Nigerian part. If she is going to be distinguished, she must remain distinguished. If you're going to identify yourself as anything other than us, then you have to stay over there. You don't get any of the perks or benefits of our lineage. Ain't no Black History Month in Nigeria.
Nigga, please.
Hey, y'all, I didn't know that February was Black History Month in Nigeria. I didn't know they had a Black History Month in Nigeria. If they do, is it February? Because she's standing over here on our business. So, oh no, you're Nigerian. So we need to go do a Google search on when is Black History Month in Nigeria so that she can be honored and recognized then among her people. Because if they're calling her Nigerian, she has not stopped them and checked them and said, no, you don't separate me and distinguish me from the people. You don't do that. So once again, when you go out of your way to identify like that, you got to hold it. You got to hold it. Well, folks, there are other tethers out there who are not just catching body blows. They are getting a Negro wake-up call over and over again here. Now, I told you all this was going to happen. And please understand, eventually it's going to get to a very, very acidic point. We're not there yet. But Candace Owens has been going around here, and she has basically become the anti-Turning Point USA channel. That's all she talks about morning, noon, and night. Nobody else is talking about Charlie Kirk's assassination. She is still trying to milk it for the last drop that is in there. Nobody else is. They're talking about the Epstein files. The world is only talking about one dead white man, Jeffrey Epstein. They are done talking about Charlie Kirk. Well, she is still talking about that because she's got a hell of an axe to grind. So the guy who runs, I guess, Turning Point of Charlie Kirk's YouTube channel, he has said, hey, I guess she said that they took some of the videos down that they had posted on their YouTube channel. So the guy who runs the channel came here and said, hey, fun fact, DEI queen. I'm the one that exclusively runs the CK YouTube, and nothing was deleted after his death. Stop making up garbage accusations that you literally know nothing about. You've become worse than Karine Jean-Pierre and Ketanji Brown Jackson.
What? Damn!
So he comes out with the white supremacist code words there. DEI queen, and compares her to two black women. And she responds, you have got to appreciate the irony of a company that literally employed me for years now referring to me as a DEI hire. What does me being black have to do with anything happening right now, Ryan? Why are you referencing my race at all? Is this Turning Point 2.0? Well, you might think that was the end of it, but wait, sports fans, you go down the comments section. She is still unhappy. She says maybe the spokesperson of Turning Point, Andrew Colvett, or the new CEO can help clarify why my race is being mentioned and why I'm being likened to Ketanji Brown, who I have not one thing in common with other than brown skin. To which he responds, no one said anything about your race.
Lie.
I just referred to the fact that your bad ideas should not be accepted. Ketanji Brown Jackson was just the previous queen of bad ideas. So Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is less notorious than Ketanji Brown Jackson, Nancy Pelosi, Cindy McCain. Hello? I mean, look, the white supremacists, they don't have a deep playbook for white supremacist code words. The playbook ain't very deep, y'all. No. Nothing about race. DEI has nothing to do with race. And then you have a bunch of folk in here. Candace 2.0 is really concerned about her race. So the white supremacist males are jumping up, gaslighting and everything else like they do here. You were quite literally hired because you were a black conservative and you were once useful to the movement because you were rare. Had you been white, you wouldn't have been nearly as valuable. You shot to relevancy because of BLM. Let's just be honest here. Charlie was very good at bridging gaps. You were a gap that was needed. 19 months isn't years. So who is she sitting up here claiming that? It's like, okay, Charlie was good at bridging gaps. Ma'am, excuse me. If you're going to claim that she was only brought in because she was black conservative, that she wasn't qualified, that's not bridging gaps. That means you're all white supremacist propagandists. So here's a white female, as I told you all before. If you think for 1 minute that these white supremacists are going to allow Candace Owens to become the chief spokesperson and standard bearer of the white supremacist MAGA racist movement, you're insane. I told you all, the long knives are going to come for her. She is not going to be allowed to be the chief spokesperson. She's not going to be allowed to be the figurehead. That's not going to occur. A lot of you have been deceived about the last year. You thought, well, Jason, this is a change in the tide. Things is different now. And I'm like, okay, so you're just going to ignore the last 1,000 years of white supremacy, the last 400 years on this soil in particular. You're just going to ignore all that. All that's changed in 12 calendar months. That's all gone now. We're in a new world, post-racial America. Okay. I told you all, she was just the most entertaining thing on their timelines. But don't fool yourself about how they feel about her. Another white woman. Here we go with the race card. You always have to be a victim, huh? When does Candace Owens claim to be a victim? So all they do is just bring out their cliches. It doesn't matter if it's stupid, wrong, doesn't apply. This is the playbook. These are the slogans. Hell, you can tell them what they're going to say before they say anything. This person right here had it right. This was always Turning Point's MO. You were just the useful token for them to claim they weren't racist, while everything they were pushing was rooted in racism and supremacy ideology. Well, yeah, Candace, because Charlie Kirk was one of the biggest white supremacists walking the earth. And Turning Point didn't become racist today. Your whole point of being there was to rubber stamp their racism and white supremacy. That was the whole reason you got a job, was to rubber stamp their white supremacy and to give them a mask to hide behind and a shield to hide behind. That was the only reason you were there. And now the folks in the comment section are calling you out on it. That's the whole reason you were there, was to be our useful niggerish shield. Now you're screaming racism. They were racist the whole time. It wasn't a problem for her when she was getting benefits. Now that they're sitting up here putting the boots to her, now Turning Point's racist. So if you go down to that comment section there, you'll find a whole bunch of white folk who are giving her the boots, giving her the business. So I've warned you all and told you all that this is how it's going to end. It ends like this. It ends like this. They are going to get tired of seeing this black female attack this white man's family. They're going to be tired of seeing this white female attack these white folk. Remember, the optics of this, the appearance of this is not good. It's not flattering. It's not desirable. It's not palatable. They are not going to keep empowering you to put the boots to these white supremacist people and these white supremacist males and their family. They are not going to do that. You're a loud microphone right now, but they're going to make sure that you understand that at any time we can put you back in your place. And they're already showing you all that when they do, it will be calling and rallying the troops to say, by the way, don't listen to her, she's black. At the end of the day, they are going to say that what delegitimizes you is that you're black. That's all. Doesn't matter what you said, the arguments of it, the merits of it, the quality and the validation of the merits has no bearing. You're black, and when they do finally get enough of them together, the weapon they're gonna drag out is, hey, all you other white folk need to stop listening to her. She's black. What's wrong with you? She's black. Poor little old Candace, I guess she's just got to ride this thing till the wheels come off. I guess she's just got to ride it till the wheels come off. Because there's not a whole lot she can do now. She's along for the ride. She is along for the ride, and that's the only thing she can do. Here's the point. Here's the reason, people. The reason why we have dug in our heels for over a decade now about this distinguishing and delineation is because we got tired of seeing individuals brought over here from foreign backgrounds, and the very first thing they did was say, yes, master, whatever you need, yes. They did not put this kind of enthusiasm ever in life in collaborating with us. Everything has been a big buck dancing show. Now I would like to take this to the next level to explain something to you all in the grand tradition of Brother Neely Fuller. Rest in power. I need y'all to know something here. In the mind of the immigrant coon, in the mind of the tether class, compliment, you can make this a rule. As our brother Neely Fuller gave us the rule, so many of the rules in the compensatory code system concept about codifying white supremacy. When he told you that white supremacy always takes both sides of an argument. Brothers and sisters, the immigrant coon accepts compliments and insults as equal from the white supremacist. What? Compliments and insults both have equal value, equal positive value in the mind of the immigrant coon. It doesn't matter whether a white person is complimenting them. It doesn't matter whether a white person is insulting them, just so long as they are not ignoring them. That's the only thing that would scare them. The only thing that scares the immigrant coon is being ignored by white society. Ignored by white supremacist society. That's the only thing that would bother them, is if you were ignoring them. They don't care if you compliment them. They don't care if you insult them. They don't care if you call them a dirty N-word dog. Just so long as you're not ignoring them. They consider it to be an equal blessing so long as they are acknowledged. That's all they require, is the acknowledgement. And so long as they are being acknowledged, they don't require or expect or demand anything else. So I want you all to know how it is that the coons can go back and forth and go round and round. Start from the understanding that when they are dealing with white supremacist society, they're priority is being acknowledged, not respected. Their priority is to be acknowledged, not respected, so it doesn't bother them if they are insulted. They don't ever take it personally, because they know the most important thing is being acknowledged and pleasing massa as a result. So that's their priority. So this is why it doesn't matter how overwhelmingly blatant the proof is that you bring them. They're not going to stop what they're doing because they're there to get benefits. So long as they can get those benefits, they will ignore everything. It's only once they start getting ignored, i.e. cut off, i.e. stopped from getting any more benefits, now they start complaining. Now they start banging on the prison cell door. Now they start yelling and screaming about racism and white supremacy. Now they start doing that. And it gets real weird when they start trying to talk about race. Candace Owens, baby, you got a decade of cooning and buck dancing, baby. You can't talk about race at all. You have denied white supremacy at the most despicable, disgusting levels. Brothers and sisters from around the world, need I remind you of a few things, just in case it got away from you here, just in case, because I know it's been a while, and I get it. I know it's been a while, but I have to remind you here that when Candace Owens is talking to you, if you want to delude yourself into thinking that this woman is a honest broker, please remember it was Candace Owens who jumped out the window first, claiming that she was backing, or she was speaking in support of a so-called documentary called The Trayvon Hoax.
What?
Remember that? Oh, Candace Owens was 10 toes down for George Zimmerman and still is today. She has never apologized. She has never backed off of that. Remember, you can go Google that for yourselves. For those of you who are new here and from some of the very frustrated and angry, frustrated white supremacists from Turning Point who have joined us here tonight, welcome to the Black Channel. And so if you want to go ahead and get your full dragging for the evening here, we're not going to let you live this down or ever forget this. While she was running around with Charlie KKK Ku Klux Klan Kirk, while Candace Owens was running around with Charlie Ku Klux Klan Kirk, he was sending her out there while she was talking about the Trayvon hoax. Also remember that she was talking about the George Floyd hoax. George Floyd, Eric Garner, Trayvon Martin. She never saw a black person murdered, killed, or anything else that she did not immediately come to the defense of the white supremacists over. And she told you that if you took to the streets after they murdered all these people, the problem isn't the folk who murdered them. The problem is you. And just in case you thought that was just limited to black men, remember Candace Owens was, an absolutely gut-churning event. Remember, she was the biggest defender of Daniel Holtz's claw. Remember? Police officer in Oklahoma who had been running around raping black women. And Candace Owens, remember, she was fighting to get him a retrial, get him an acquittal, get him a pardon. She said, nope, we're not listening to all these women who said this here. I'm Candace Owens, and I say there's no way in the world that this half white, half Asian police officer could have possibly, there's no way that he's guilty of this. So we need to get him out. Y'all remember, she was not just saying he was innocent. She said we need to get him out. We need to get him a new trial. We need to get him acquitted. We need to get him pardoned. How many of y'all remember that? Give me the hand up emoji in the chat room if you remember these things. Raise your hand in the chat room if you remember these things, because I remember them. If I'm putting something on her she didn't do, you call me out for it. But by the way, for those of you who remember it, put your hand up in the chat room and let it be known that you remember what she's done for the last decade. You remember that? So I am doing my job and my responsibility as the anchor man of the New Black Media here to set these milestones so that you all will be able to go back and look back over them throughout history, so you can see them throughout history for yourselves. And I'm marking these time points that, by the way, I told you how this is going to end. And now you're seeing another shoe dropping that, yeah, you can see the cracks in the wall and you can see how this is forming. All of y'all who see this on your screen, you know that this is not the end of it. You know this is going somewhere. You know this is going somewhere. So with that being the case, I just wanted to make sure that I cataloged this tonight, so that eventually when it does happen in the future, when it does occur, you have to go back and say, hey, I have a reliable source of information. I've listened to the Black Channel. He predicted all of this the entire time, because where you get your information is critical. Luther Campbell is not a creature. He's not a creature of Jamaica. He's a creature of Florida. You all have to understand, for those of you, you know, Florida is a uniquely wacky place. It really is. Everybody thinks about Disney World and whatnot. That's one part of it. But Florida is no insult. Floridians will tell you this. I'm not insulting. Floridians know. Florida is uniquely wacky. Florida is uniquely quirky. I mean, some of the other deep southern states, you know, they got some hard rules of silliness and, you know, Neanderthalism. But Florida is uniquely quirky. They have fought very hard to be the polar opposite of California, and they succeeded. So, Florida is uniquely quirky. No, not South Florida, all of Florida.
And deal with it, nigga.
No, the entire state of Florida is uniquely quirky. Luther Campbell is a creature of southern Florida. And that was another thing right there. By the way, there was something else I wanted you all to hear. I want you to hear this next part here, because I took particular offense at this, and I think a lot of you here will take particular offense at it.
Mention that. So let me, let's talk about the race.
But who you gonna in this, not to cut you off, but in this race, who's gonna be able to go talk to Marco Rubio? Who's gonna be able to go talk to Donald Trump? Me. I'm the only one that can do that. Nobody else in this race he would respect. Nobody in this race. I mean, I got Marco Rubio on speed dial right now.
Both. You do?
Yes.
Can we call him?
Yeah, we can. I mean, I'm cool. We'll get him on the phone. But I mean,
understood what you're saying.
Yes, yeah. That is the important part of this race.
You're across, as a Democrat, you have bipartisan ties to people in power.
Yes. Anything that I got done in Liberty City, anything I got done in Miami, I had to have a conversation with Mayor Suarez. You know, through Keon Hardeman, I had to have conversations with different people from the other side of the aisle.
You are plugged in. That is a factual statement.
Totally plugged in.
So let me ask you, let's talk about the race itself a little bit. and I say this with much love and respect.
Yeah.
You've got a background that's an opposition researcher's dream. I mean, are you prepared for what's going to come at you in a race in negative campaigning?
Oh, no doubt about it. My track record, my life story, when I thought about this, mostly people will get into a race and they'll say, write down the 10 things that you don't want people to know about. Well, the 10 things that I don't want people to know about, everybody already know about. People know my history. But then at the same time, people know the things that I've done in the community. They know the community outreach. They know I've revitalized parks and programs. They know I've spearheaded programs to get kids off the street, took kids around college tours and be able to allow them to get college scholarships and play on another level.
Have you done polling?
Polling, I go to the people. I'll probably do that, but I go directly to the people.
I do too. I'm with you.
Yeah, you go to the people. I mean, people.
You have money?
Of course, I have a lot of money.
Supporters? You want to reveal some of your support?
Every artist that I produce and every artist by creating Southern hip hop will be donating to this campaign.
Nigga, what?
Nigga, what?
Nigga, what?
Yeah. Your Humpty ears did not deceive you. He just said all the artists he by creating Southern hip hop. So all of a sudden, now they're going to say Florida's the South because up until now they've been trying to claim they're East Coast. But okay, y'all just heard him say that he created Southern hip hop, y'all. He's telling y'all he created it. I'm not even going to tell y'all about New Orleans and Bounce. We ain't even going to get into that. You all know that was just garbage. What is it with tethers and lying?
What? Auntie, chill.
Just everything is a damn lie. Everything is a scam. Everything is some damn propaganda here. It ain't nothing real. It's just lie through your damn teeth till somebody debunks it. Just get the lie out as far as you can, as quick as you can before somebody can debunk it. But you just heard him. He said that he's going to have plenty of money, and who's going to have your support? Well, all the rappers. So he's going to be a congressman elected on rappers. How'd that work out for Kamala Harris?
To the
I do too. I'm with you.
Yeah, you go to the people. I mean, people.
You have money?
Of course, I have a lot of money.
Supporters? You want to reveal some of your support?
Every artist that I produce and every artist by creating Southern hip hop will be donating to this campaign.
And you'll have streets named after you. That's a done deal already.
Okay, only if they put a boulevard to the strip club. Damn! That's the only street gonna be named after Luther Campbell. If they put a bike lane to the strip club, they can name that one after him. But yeah, folks, Luther Campbell is telling this woman here that he created Southern hip hop. He's sitting here telling the world that he created Southern hip hop. Yeah. I guess when you don't have any real legitimate credentials other than creating porn hop, Luther Campbell created porn hop. He didn't create Southern anything. Well, your contribution is creating porn rap. That's your contribution, Luther Campbell. That's you. And in reality, he didn't create that either, but I suppose you could say for popularizing it or whatever, that's Luther Campbell's legacy. That's his accomplishment. It is an insult to our intelligence and our hemorrhoids for him to sit up here and say that he created Southern hip hop. So what he's telling you is that he's a lying ass. His credential is to be a lying ass like every other politician. Damn! He's basically trying to tell us that vote for me, I'm qualified because I'm a pathological liar like every other politician. So can't you see on my credentials I'm qualified? He wants to show us how big of a liar he is. Okay, dude, it's not about being a big liar. It's about being a good one. You're a big liar. You're just not a good one. This is not endorsement. This is not enhancement. I don't know what y'all have said about that. Yeah. So he's letting everybody know exactly how he feels about this and exactly what he's doing. He's letting everybody here know that if he runs for Congress, he is going to continue the proud tradition of lying, scamming, getting over. And of course, he does not think that illegals have enough representation or support. So he's here to make sure that the illegals get all of the logistical necessary support that they require. That's what he's here for. To make sure they get everything that they need. Please do not deceive yourselves into thinking that these people are embarrassed. Please do not deceive yourselves into thinking that they get enough of being hilariously embarrassed. Don't deceive yourselves into that. This is what they live for. They live to be a sideshow. They live to be seen. They just want attention. And in Luther Campbell's case, the only thing his opponent has to do is just let him keep talking. The only thing that they have to do is just let him keep talking. This mush mouth snaggletooth dude, you should have just stayed at the school and did your penance. Stay at the school, do your penance. Let all of them say a bunch of kids who they weren't even born back when you were putting out your smut albums. Go ahead and let that be the case, dude. Just go off into the sunset. Go off into obscurity. Let the world forget about you. But this is what happens when old niggas need relevance. They just come popping back up again. Doesn't matter that nobody called for him and nobody wants him there. Here we go again. And he's really just trying to check the temperature to see if there's anybody out there who has any nostalgia for him. Okay, dude, look, your band was a one-hit wonder. That was it. Your band was a one-hit wonder. You put out a solo album. Okay, it had a hit song on that, I guess. And that's it. You need to do what Florida is infamous for. Have a senior citizen home and let them wheel you around, and you can sit up here and make inappropriate sexual comments to the nurses. That's where Luther Campbell needs to be today. He needs to be there. What is about embarrassing themselves doesn't bother these people. We're going to have to do a study on that, some research. What is it about terminally embarrassing themselves that doesn't bother these people? Because, by the way, on top of all of that here, we come to Byron Donalds. Well, y'all take a look here. Byron Donalds, his wife, put up this thing. Remember the spot where Byron Donalds asked for my number in the Oglesby Student Union at Florida State in the fall of 1999? Well, folks, this is very, very unfortunate that Mrs. Donalds would date this picture. I don't know why she did. Apparently, she has become completely oblivious. Our first date, she puts that in quotations. That's not a good sign, dude. Our first date came a few months later on Valentine's Day 2000. Thanks, babe, for making all 27 of our Valentine's Days together so special. And write down in the comments section, what? Damn! Wow. And you already got him a wedding ring? So you see the picture up here. I mean, he's married, but not to her. Wasn't he married at that time? I hope that first date was at Cracker Barrel where Brian gave his life to Christ in the parking lot. This clueless chick right here. Okay, nobody knows how silly you are till you start talking. But Milo Yiannopoulos, he gonna be first on deck. How did his wife feel about this first date? He was still married. Did your first wife, Bisa, take this photo? So, yeah, folks, they let you know. I'm sure his first wife remembers too. Can't wait for him to be the next governor of Florida. What'd they say? If Trump can be in the White House, all right. Byron Donalds was newly married at the time he hit on Erica. Despicableness, lying, and hypocrisy is a prerequisite for Republican politics. So yeah, man, what is it? Too many hate comments here. All same. Happy Valentine's to you both. So the Republican Party now, the party of traditional values, Christianity, turning point, faith. What they say is only when we want to count it. Shameless. Byron Donalds married Bisa Hall on June 15th, 1999. Wait a minute now. He married Erica Lees in 2003. Wait a minute. He married his first wife in 1999, and he was literally tongue kissing this woman here in 1999. I mean, this fool, he walked straight from the altar straight to the side chick. What? Damn! Intervention! He literally walked straight from the altar right to the side piece. But to show y'all how dirty, I mean, these dudes, look, all the Caribbean cats out there, man, y'all tearing Florida up, man. Where's Byron's folk from there? These Caribbean cats in Florida, man, they ain't no shame to the game of nothing. They don't have another family back home. They got 2-3 families right here, boy. It's just everywhere they go. Just walking straight out. He walked off the altar and didn't even get to go have the honeymoon. Walked straight to the side chick with the ring on. Fellas, you've done a lot of things. I mean, did you walk over to the side chick house with your ring on? And then said, you know what? I'm running for Congress. Damn! Man, I mean, you Caribbean cats, y'all are tearing Florida up, man. Y'all are throwing off the whole damn social ecosystem. There ain't no rules. Ain't no rules with them dudes, man. Anything moving, they own it. They're not even gonna stop to wash up. He's like, I ain't got time for that. I gotta put in work. He didn't change clothes. He didn't change rings. He did nothing. Straight from the altar right to the next broad. Oh man. You Caribbean dudes, y'all know how y'all get down, man. It's no smoke, no disrespect. Y'all know it's true. Them Caribbean cats are like, man, look here, we don't turn down nothing but our collar. We don't turn down nothing but our collar. So, I mean, he got married in 99, had the side piece on deck already. And by the way, she don't give a damn. One more thing. Byron, you might not want her to keep posting this kind of stuff right here because you are so damn flagrant. You don't want white folks to start saying, wait a minute now, y'all know how them black men's is. See, it's one thing when you do this with black females. I don't know how the white folk gonna feel about this because you know what they say is, oh, the black ravenous sexual beast. Oh, these black ravenous sexual beasts, they can't control their sexual hormones. They just grab everything. And here Byron is. I think that's very racist. And they say, Your Honor, I present his paperwork. Your Honor, he literally walked out the church straight to the side chick over here, sir. I rest my case. And these just the ones you know about. So, yeah, what'd he say? Well, does it really count if I stayed with the side chick? Is it really immoral if I stayed with the side piece? I mean, how y'all gonna hate on that? If I stayed with the side piece, you think white men are happy to see? You think the white supremacist males in Florida are happy to see this? You think Ron DeSantis is pleased to see this? He's like, wait a minute now, because Ron DeSantis got busted with them damn students down there. What? So y'all think they happy to see this? To see Byron Donalds double dipping? You think they want a reminder that Byron Donalds been down there? I'm talking about just all the white women, just everywhere. What do you say? He got a t-shirt, national champions. What did he say? I was athletically running through them broads down there. He said, I was an athlete. I had my Jordans on. I was sprinting through all them chicks. I was sprinting through all of them. He wasn't walking through the chicks. He was sprinting through them. Y'all think them fellas gonna be happy to see that? Well, show, Byron. Why don't you come on over to my house for Thanksgiving? Let me introduce you to my nieces. Don't mind if I do. You think that's not bringing up bad memories? You think this isn't bringing up bad memories? This is going to do nothing but invoke a bunch of bad memories in Florida. That's why they all jumped on this. As soon as they said, wait a minute, wasn't he married? Oh, man. Yes, sir. They jumped up and letting you know, okay, before you get down the damn road here, just, hey, everybody, you know he's married. You know about that, don't you? Oh, boy. All right. I told you. Conservative, Christian, politically homeless. All right. She got time today. She got time today. So, yeah, the English man. So the fellas are like, some of the fellas gonna hang in there. Nah, you know full damn well you ain't gonna like that. You are not gonna like that. He went on a date with you while he was still married to his first wife? You damn Skippy.
Auntie, chill.
You damn Skippy. That's right. So y'all about to vote for your Black Caribbean stereotype. What? Y'all, at this point right now, I might have to change up on old Byron. I want these folks to vote for their stereotype. Y'all think the white men in Florida are angry now? You think the white supremacist males are angry now? You let old Byron Donalds get elected and all the white women in the audience cheering and clapping. It's okay. The mood of the room is going to noticeably change. Because, by the way, y'all, there are not enough white women condemning. There are not enough white women in this comment section condemning. There are a few too many of them who are like, oh, I think that's great. Congratulations to y'all. Happy Valentine's Day. It's okay. It's a few too many white women ain't negative. They're not negative enough. It's not enough here. I don't know. I don't know how well this gonna go over. And he start winning, and they look around the room and see all the white women cheering and clapping. No, this is great. And knowing full well when it comes to white women, Byron Donalds is stacking them deep and running them cheap. Oh, man. Oh, man, wedding ring on is diabolical. Byron said, damn a ring. I can't slow down. I got to go grab her right this minute. He tried to hide the ring behind the phone. This is, bro, it ain't going to work. This is not going to work for you. This is not going to work. Oh, hell, here we go.
Oh, my God, bro. Oh, hell no, man.
Oh, shucky ducky, here we go. Here we go. Yeah, you knew that was coming. Yeah, there it is, y'all. Yeah, that's bubbling beneath the surface. You knew this right here was bubbling beneath the surface. Couldn't find a white guy. Okay. All right, from Candace Owens to Byron Donalds, that train's never late. That train is never late. All right. They reminded Candace Owens. They reminding your wife about mud sharking. Yeah, what they say, we don't give a damn about no politics. This is Florida. All right, this chick here is trying to get her green card. Wasn't Donalds married at the time? Boy, the white supremacist males, you just keep running. Wasn't he married? Wasn't he married? Wasn't he married? Wasn't he married? Is that a wedding ring on his finger? Heifer, you saw the other 20 comments that showed it. Why is date in quotation marks? Good question. First date with a newlywed. Conservative Christian family values are wild. Not the first date when he still had on his wedding ring to his first wife. No. It was the side chick's first date. It was not Byron's first date. It's the side chick's first date with Byron. It's the side chick's first date with Byron. So as y'all can see here, the comments section, I don't know, I smell another scandal brewing. This right here is going to be bubbling up just in time the end of the year of elections. Oh, hell. Boy, this is a bad time for this to come up, y'all. I know he's sitting at home right now wanting to pimp slap his wife so damn bad. Baby, why the hell you had to post this? Why the hell you had to post this? Byron got enough trouble going on already, and then the wife jumps up and says, here, let me make this a little bit more difficult. Let me make this a little more challenging for you. Let me give you something for them to talk about on This Week with George Stephanopoulos. Hey, fellas, how would you feel if you running for office, you know, the folks voting for you are already kind of shaky because of your wife, and then you go to Twitter and find out your wife 2.3 million views.
What? Damn!
2.3 million views, which would be great if the comment section wasn't reminding folk of a bunch of things. But fellas, if you were running for office and then your wife sits up here and throws up a picture saying, you know, I was dating him when he was married to his first wife, and then she throws up a picture with photographic evidence. Oh, this is going to go over great at them churches down in Florida when he's campaigning there now, ain't it? This is going to go over swimmingly. Fellas, what would you think if your wife did that? You're in the middle of a hard-fought election here. Folks are already shaky on you. They don't like your black ass to begin with, and you in the middle of the party that hates your black ass. And then of all the pictures she could post, people, why couldn't she just post a damn selfie? Why couldn't she just zoom in on their faces and get that ring out the way? Why did she have to post the whole damn documentation? Why did she have to do that? Why didn't she just post the close-up of him and that's it? What that tells you is that she didn't give a damn about his first wife and don't give a damn now. However, how this is going to reflect for his campaign is not going to be very, very good right here. So I can't wait to see him at Turning Point. What? Y'all, can you imagine his next visit to Turning Point USA? When they open up the audience questions portion? Oh man, that's gonna be a good one. Next time Turning Point USA come booming into town and y'all thought Vivek Ramaswamy got some tough questions. You thought Vivek Ramaswamy had some tough questions. You wait till this right here has to come up. Yes, sir. You're a dedicated Christian. That's right. You've been married to your mistress now for 27 years. I mean, let's not talk about that. What about your first wife and values? I was young and reckless. Okay. So the rest of us can do the same thing. No, don't do that. I mean, unless you're really in love with the side chick, in which case you might have to do it. You don't know where God takes us. It's just, I was in the wrong place, and you immediately jumped ship. So it's, clearly you was every place. Yes, sir. So I wanted y'all to know here that Tethermania is out of control right now. It's out of control right now. They're doing some of everything. They are doing some of everything out here right now. So yes, we got to delineate ourselves before folk look it up and be like, you want them Jamaican cats? No disrespect to the Jamaican cats, but fellas, y'all got to slow down, man. Y'all doing too much. Y'all doing too much. In the chat room, the 420 kid needs to give me a call on Zoom. So glad you said that right there. The 420 kid needs to give me a call on Zoom. You got 2 minutes. We'll give you 2 minutes here to go ahead and get that taken care of here. The 420 kids got 2 minutes to give me a call on Zoom. Go ahead and click that link at the top. Just him, not the rest of y'all, just him. You give us a call up here on Zoom. I'll be very, very glad to address that for you here. Since you asked, you shall receive. So let's go ahead and get you on up here so we can go ahead and discuss that. Yeah, folks, look, there's a reason why a lot of folk want to hide behind our name, because this kind of stuff right here, it's like, okay, this is just overboard. This is just totally unconcerned. No concern whatsoever. Don't give a damn about what's happening. He was like, man, damn the wife, damn the kids, damn family values. Where old girl at? All right. There he is. So yeah, folks, it's a mess out there right now, and the best we're trying to do is make sure everybody knows, hey, we ain't a part of that mess. However, you might disagree. Therefore, the link to the Zoom is pinned at the top of the chat room there. If you want to talk, go ahead and click the link, sit back, smile, and dial, and you will have your opportunity to go ahead and speak to the anchorman of the new black media, the only one of his kind in the cosmos. You are, of course, welcome to join us. In the meantime, I want to thank everybody who has contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo. Shout out to Nancy King. Democrats are up to the same old tricks in business as usual. FBAs are on black empowering business only. Only cut the check. Shout out here also to Cyberdown 100, Willis Adadon, Case FCP, Tomo. Thank you very much for your support here as well. Big shout out here to Mr. Fremont, Claire, Keenan, and Glennis. Thank you all very much for your support here as well. And to everyone who has contributed to tonight's program, thank you very much for doing so. We appreciate that also. We're going to go ahead and take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. When we come back, got a few more things I want to show you all, and we'll open it up to take your calls and more. This is the Black Channel.
Be the teacher, knowledge on the block. Got the kids learning, minds open like a lock. Books and skills from the east to the west. Bringing education, yeah, we're simply the best. Classes on fire, brains burning with desire. Innovation driving like a tire through the mire. Math, science, history, we got the whole range. Kids hitting new heights, teachers making a change. Just to be the teacher, stacking up the grades. Future bright shining, no need for no shades. Got the youth thriving, moving up the ladder. Smart and sharp, brains growing fatter. Lessons so lit, yeah, they stay in a blaze. Every mind sharp like a sword in the haze. Mr. B in the house breaking knowledge chains. Education kingpin, we repping the games. Listen, be the teacher.
Order yours today to experience all the benefits of Ash Kickin' Body Butter. With skin so smooth and soft, you'll thank us for it. Shop Ash Kickin' online. That's ASHKICKIN.com.
Hi, this is Brenda Starr, creator of Poetry with a Purpose and author of the book Pressed But Not Crushed. Pressed But Not Crushed is an anthology of political poems that address current and historical issues in American descendants of slave population and African American population. The book describes slaveries and its residuals, Jim Crow segregation, social depredation, and other relevant issues to American descendants of slaves and African Americans, including the current political climate that does not address our issues.
This is the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Very glad to be with you all here this evening. And I gotta do this because I have to do a little bit of housekeeping, just a little bit of housekeeping here. There was an article on The Root. Yeah, I know. You're like, wow, they're still around. Somebody's got their little bootleg website still out there somewhere. And just in a sign of the time of how things have changed, folks, they're not going to keep trying to sell us this garbage. They're not going to quit. As long as somebody either in the government or whatever is subsidizing what they're doing, it's going to be garbage. But I want to show you that they know better even over there. They know better even over there. So I know a lot of y'all heard about this article here from The Root talking about the historical reasons why black folks are rooting for Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime show.
Nigga, what?
Yeah. They really posted this article. That's what they said. But you know what? Somebody there must have known better. Someone there must have known better because this article is also at The Root. What? From 2 days after that. This first one is from February 5th. This one's from February 7th. Professor, how Bad Bunny became famous by gentrifying black music. Now, wait a minute. Before you say, well, finally, somebody at The Root with some sense, wait a minute, before you jump to conclusions about just how solid they are, opinion. Go ahead and tweet about representation while the NFL sells you a sanitized remix of a black sound. It's heartwarming to watch Afro Latin X.
What? Nigga, what?
Afro Latinx pioneers get sidelined while Benito takes a victory lap on the track they paved. And with, by the way, even CNN and them are saying that nobody identifies as Latinx. Who was it who was trying to make this Latinx thing a thing? Basically the LGBTQIA plus minus decimal of ethnicities here. So just nobody asked for this. Somebody just wants to get credit for having it. Afro Latinx. When the hell did that become a thing? Okay, so he's sitting up here talking and whatnot. And then when you go down here, even in his own articles, shout out Creole, Louisiana. Black folks are from now. By the way, I mean, this is basically dissing their own website, aren't they? This is an article in The Root and basically dissing their own website. I just wanted to show y'all this. Black folks are not rooting for Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime show. There, I fixed it. This is a writer for The Root putting up a tweet from somebody dissing an article from The Root. Oh, a house divided against itself. What this does show is that even they know this is nonsense and garbage. Although here's the only other problem with it here. This was on February 7th, how Bad Bunny became famous for gentrifying black music. This was also on February 7th. This one was the most egregious. Why Bad Bunny's Super Bowl moment is a win for black people everywhere.
Sit your ass down.
Y'all got to understand, there is a certain group out there that they are so desperate for interracial access and acceptance that they will just say any lunacy, any idiocy. That's what they'll say. This is the caliber of person that the Root can afford to have writing for them. This right here. This isn't even Axiom or Medium.com caliber of article. This is the best the Root can get. And this nigga had help. There was two of them on this one. They were tag teaming it and messed this up. They were tag teaming it and messing this up. Now, I'm not going to read this whole damn thing. That is not going to happen. Not at all. But for them to sit up here and say this nonsense. Stamp explains that their conversation traces how Raggaton's Afro-Caribbean roots, Puerto Rico's colonial status, and the displacement of Puerto Ricans after Hurricane Maria shaped this cultural moment. Stamp explains why Bad Bunny's music, aesthetics, and choices cannot be separated from blackness, diaspora, and power, and why his presence on one of the biggest stages in American entertainment is political, whether he says anything explicitly or not. Folks, who were the black folk around Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl? Because I didn't see the damn thing. I know Cardi B was there. But who were the black folk who he was standing by when that happened? Who were they? Who were the black folk that he was celebrating and supporting up there? Who were the black folk that he was giving it up and talking about he got the game from? Who was that? Who was that? When you are so desperate, first they went from white ass kissing to white Latino ass kissing. This is what it means to be a writer at these old dead legacy publications. This is what it means to be a writer for them now. This is who they are. This is the best they could do. Right there. And then they wonder why nobody listens to their stuff. No, actually, they don't wonder anymore. They're just fighting for relevance. I mean, like I say, this has got to be a CIA op. Gotta be. There's just no way it isn't. There's just absolutely no damn way it isn't. No way it's not. Folks. Jason, you're wrong. Jason, you're mean. Jason, I'm just bracing y'all for all the things I'm going to hear in advance. I just want to go ahead and get that out of the way. And these are all the things they're going to say in advance. So before they get to saying them, let me go ahead and just put myself on blast first. I'm just going to take a moment here to let myself get put on blast before they go and do it. Because otherwise it'll be out there like that. So, folks, the person that they interviewed in this article, if we dare call it that, the person that they interviewed in the article is a young woman by the name of Nalini Stamp, Director of Strategy at the Working Families Party. What in the hell is the Working Families Party? Never heard of it. But she obviously is the person that they went to because apparently she is a prominent enough person for them to speak on all of us. However, I just couldn't help but notice a little something here and try not to get too badly offended to some of our friends out there. Ladies and gentlemen, just in full disclosure, this is Miss Nalini Stamp. This is Miss Nalini Stamp. This is her. She's the person speaking on us. She's the person that they are asking questions of in this article. She's the one who says, I think Bad Bunny has always known what kind of artist he is. When you hear stories about how he chose his name, he said he didn't want it to be his name or just about him. He wanted it to be about the project, the music, and what he was trying to say. Bad Bunny grew up in the trap version of reggaeton, right? These are her words. These are her words. Let me go ahead and shrink her picture just a bit. I'm going to shrink her picture just a bit so that she stays on the screen while you all see me show you her words. Go ahead and move those so you all can see all this. Make it a little bit bigger here. I know it's going to be a little challenging for those of you on your phones, but I just want to make sure that you all can see the assailant. These are her words now. These are her words. Bad Bunny grew up in the trap version of reggaeton, right? And reggaeton is an Afro-Latino started, but also Latino, like indigenous Latinos started art form that combines Caribbean, which is just an art form throughout the Caribbean. So he took reggaeton and was like, I want to do this. But then he was kind of the younger version of trap by then taking US trap and putting it into his art form. He always had an appreciation, and it was never an appropriation. You might want to compare notes with your colleague, Mr. Ware, because he has a decidedly more cynical take on this, ma'am. Your colleague at the root has a decidedly more cynical take on what you just said. They said exactly, which is just one of many examples of how he has centered blackness within Puerto Rico. Nelanie says he always acknowledged black people started reggaeton and hip hop in a way that a lot of people don't, right? You see some reggaeton artists out there without melanin, and they never actually talk about the origins of this music, right? And you see it later in his summer residency last year when he brought out every single person who originated or had a big to-do with Puerto Rican and Latino music in specific genres and cultures. The one that I went to had Tego Calderon, who's a very famous Afro-Latino reggaeton artist. I'm not going to torment you anymore with that, but here she is explaining, oh, I've got to say it. I've got to say it. Which Caribbean island is she from, y'all? Because she's got the Caribbean tooth gap. What? Damn! Oh, no disrespect, y'all. It's a genetic thing. Oh, that Caribbean gap. She got that Caribbean gap, y'all. If they come from the Caribbean, it don't matter who it is. It's very, very few people I've met from the Caribbean who ain't got that Caribbean gap. I mean, you could reach your hand in between the two front teeth and grab a tongue. Nigga. Damn. Yeah, boy, it's just okay. But that's a Caribbean gap, y'all. That's a Caribbean gap. Yes, sir. That's the Caribbean. She ain't been to the orthodontist yet to get that cleaned up. So she's got the Caribbean gap going on there. So you ain't gotta ask where folks from. When you see that gap, it's, oh, you from the Caribbean. I ain't gotta ask which one. I know where you ain't from. You ain't from here. You from the Caribbean. First generation. That's right. No braces. Ain't stopped sucking your thumb. It's just, it's you from the Caribbean. You from the Caribbean. So, yes, Miss Stamp has put her stamp of approval. By the way, nice tattoos. Damn! How much y'all want to bet that she's a candidate for a septum ring? Anybody want to bet whether or not she's a candidate for a septum ring? She looks like she comes pre-fitted for one. Somebody told me she's married to a white man. So, all right. This is who the root is talking to. Might have to check on that to be sure. Somebody told me she's married to a white man. We'll have to check the paperwork on that, but yes, sir. I mean, she looked like she mixed. She looks like she's mixed. So it's when it comes to delineation, this is what I mean right here, man. You get folks, everybody fighting to be screwed up and messed up and stuff. And when they're around us, they don't talk this garbage. But as soon as you give them a safe space, they think they can get away with it. All of a sudden, George Zimmerman's great and we're all ragged to music and we're not Afro, we Afro-Latino. Just as soon as they asses get taken into HR to get fired, then they become black. So this is who the root went to tell you that Bad Bunny is a win for black people. This is who the root went to go talk to come back and tell us. That's what they wanted to do here. So it is outrageously embarrassing. Outrageously embarrassing, but this is the best they could do. By the way, you know what? No, let me show you all a little bit more. I know you're saying, Jason, you're going to want to see this here because this gives you an idea of the caliber of individual that the root went to lecture us about the legitimacy of Bad Bunny. That this is a win for us. Now, you know what, y'all? How long will it be before she gets into the LGBT, we is the world, blackness don't matter talk? I wonder how long it'll be till she gets there. Why don't we see? So you saw she said up here about he talked to he had on Tego Calderon. Okay. On Sunday, even if he says nothing explicit, that this is already political, what does this performance do? I think it's about Latino mundo. So Latino world, Latinos of the world. So they got an article here where she's talking about black people, that this is a win for black people. And then next thing you know, we done swerved. Now we're off into it. Well, it's really about Latino. So everybody uses us to bootstrap their issues. They say the words black at the beginning, but then they swerve and bootstrap it off of us. And then swerve off into something that has nothing to do with us. So yeah, folks approach us talking right, but then they go swerve off into something else. My dad's from Belize, a black country formerly called British Honduras, and he's Latino. I think we'll see a celebration of Puerto Rico. People joked about deporting him even though Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory. That lands because it's real. More Puerto Ricans live outside the island than on it, especially after Promesa and Hurricane Maria. People lived almost a year without power. This performance is for people who had to leave their homeland to survive. Puerto Rico is one of the oldest colonies in the world, not just in the United States. It has been a colony for a really long time. If you live in Puerto Rico and are raised in Puerto Rico, you cannot vote for president of the United States. You do not have voting representatives. It is taxation without representation, everyone. So I think it's really hard to be a Puerto Rican and not be political, especially if you're a millennial like he is. Each step of the way, he was like, I'm going to be political. He did it in different ways, highlighting different identities in Puerto Rico. Another swerve. Highlighting trans women. Damn. Highlighting the LGBTQ community. Damn. Jason, why are you reading all this? Why are you reading all this? Because I wanted nobody to say I'm misrepresenting her. I walked it all the way down so you can see how she took swerve after swerve. This is what we mean when they send in these agents. These agents meant to hijack our efforts. So we started off talking about black people, and I'll be damned if we didn't end up at LGBTQ, which means they use us. They use us as a stepping stone in order to promote their unassociated issues. They use our legitimate standing to bring in the illegitimate stuff that they don't have any backing for, and then try to bootstrap it off of us and say, this is really, if you black, you really need to support Bad Bunny and Latinx and Afro-Latino and Belize and LGBTQ. And by the way, I got somebody who done sent me pictures of her from the LGBTQ rally. So, yeah, she won. Looks like she's on stage with the drag queens. So, yeah. Okay, yeah. I might see if I can go ahead and get this on the screen. Give me a few moments. I might see if I can get it up on the screen for you all so you can see it. But yeah, this is who they chose to come and talk to us about totally unassociated issues. This is who they sent to do that. Because they know full damn well we are the only legitimate people here. And so they sent them to come talk about something totally unrelated to us. It says here, then when folks saw Ricky, the old governor, and the leaked text messages about Hurricane Maria calling people poor, okay, she lost train of thought. Bad Bunny was on top of a bus with Ricky Martin. What? And Benicio del Toro. I felt so inspired, and I was like, oh my God, this is so hot. So let me get this straight. She's at the LGBTQ rally. She's repping the LGBTQ flag. But she also wants to let you know that she thinks Ricky Martin is hot. And okay. I think it's a couple of things he wants, and he has said Latino mundo, right? Latinos of the world. You said it already. We're not a monolith. We're the opposite of a monolith. We've got different languages spoken because remember, Latinos are anybody in Latin America.
Sit your ass down.
Lie. Go talk to the black folk down there in South America and see if they are accepted as Latinos by the white ones. Go see how well that stands up. Go see how well that stands up. By the way, it's like, didn't you say this already? Y'all, didn't she just say all of this? I mean, didn't she just say this? No, this is a little bit different. I am full Latino. People, you know what somebody truly believes when you apply pressure. When you put the pressure on somebody, that's when you find out what they really believe. When you challenge somebody's credentials, That's when you find out what they're really about. When you challenge their credentials. When you challenge their credentials and then they start talking about blackness, well, they're letting you know what they really believe. They're letting you know that at their heart, this is who they really are. When you challenge their credentials or when they feel pressured or pressed, and then they start talking about everything else, well, that means something right there. That means something. When you see that. So I wanted to take that as a moment to remind you that, okay, that means something right there when I see that. Oh, yeah. By the way, that picture I told you all before. Yeah. This is one of her friends. I'm friends with one of her friends, and they just hit me up talking about Jason. I know her. I'm like, okay, for real? She said, yes, she is LGBTQ and everything else. I'm like, okay, well, this is, by the way, y'all, those skulls. What? Oh, those skulls. Those skulls. All right, y'all, let's just if you get with a Latina chick, y'all fellas out there, you know how it is. You get with a Latina chick, she either turns out to be a Coke bottle or a Coke can.
And deal with it.
That's what you get. If you get with a Latina chick, it goes one of two ways: Coke bottle or Coke can. Those are the two options you get. And if she don't start out that way, she gonna get there. So you get a Coke bottle or a Coke can, and you can see which direction this one went in. You can see what direction this one went in. So yeah, she would like to lecture black people. She would like to take this as her opportunity to lecture all of us about what we need to focus on and what we need to be about, and to educate us about what it is. So, yeah. Yeah. So, shout out to my little friend there. Let me know. Put me on go ahead and giving us the extra data on this, y'all. So if you want to know who the root is getting to write these kinds of articles, you want to use what kind of person would write something like this? If you're asking yourselves, well, what the hell kind of person would write something like this and put out some kind of article like this? That's you just saw the kind. You just saw them. Now, I want to go back one more again because I want to read this last part here because I'm not going to leave this unsettled or unsaid. I'm not going to leave this unstated, unsettled, or unsaid. And yes, I want to leave the picture of her up here on the screen so that you can see this the entire time while I read this. She is sitting there saying to you all that I am full Latino. She didn't say black. I am full Latino. My dad's from Belize, which is a black country. Yeah, you said this already. It used to be called British Honduras. Yeah, you said this already. But my dad is Latino. Latinos are Caribbean, Central American, South American, Mexico, like from North America.
Nigga, what?
So one thing is, he's trying to unite Latinos of all colors and say, we got each other's backs. Well, this ain't a black issue anymore right here, heifer. You are not articulating a black issue right here at all. So now that you have left the black conversation, because if they don't, sit your ass all the way down. But this, ladies and gentlemen, is the swerve, the classic swerve. They start off talking, the politicians do this, that bait and switch, that swerve. They start off talking about us. They start the sentence off about black. And when you get to the end of it, you're talking about everyone except black. So she is a self-identifying mixed LGBT, apparently Latina, who does not get listened to by Latinos because you're too black. She wants you to, quote, unite the Latino world so that she will finally have a place in it, because right now she doesn't. So she really wants you to give her a seat at the table. This is what we run into time after time after time. She just wants a seat at the table. She doesn't have enough clout to get it herself, so she's trying to pressure them and say, hey, you stole this from foundational black Americans, and let me see if I can graft myself onto the black identity and attempt to use that as pressure on the white Latinos to finally let me in, so that I stop looking and feeling like the oddball when I come around. And so to all the folks in New York, in Florida, in California, there's a reason we had to sit up here and hold the hard line. There's a reason we had to do this, because y'all know damn well we run into this all the damn time. You are not gonna be black when convenient for anybody. Whether you're so-called mixed, Afro-Latino, Caribbean, continental African, we done with the black when convenient. In our faces, you black, but really you trying to use that to get some benefits somewhere else, because that's where you really wish you were, but unfortunately you don't qualify, so you got resigned over here, so you sit around us because you ain't got nowhere else to go. We're not taking anybody else's trash. If you see yourself as the refuse and you act like it, we are not the dumping ground for these other races and ethnicities trash that can't fit in. We are not here for hoes and sluts and idiot deadbeat dudes from the island of misfit toys. If you don't want to be over here, you don't get a day pass. You either all the way in or you're all the way out. And that's real talk.
And deal with it, nigga.
This where we at today. You're either all in or all out. And she's all out. You don't speak for us. You don't speak for us. You ain't really speaking to us. I brought you in as comic relief to laugh at you and mock you and ridicule you. You have no influence. But all the folks out there thinking y'all gonna play this game, you think you come from major metropolitan areas and you're gonna be black when convenient? And think you gonna code switch? And don't worry, the niggas will take it because, well, I'm light skinned, so you know they kind of hot for that. So I'll play this little game right here. I'm sure you real upset right now. We stamping out your hopes and dreams. We're not playing this game anymore. When we hear you put in the swerve, when we hear you attempt to draft other people into blackness, Latinos are Latinos. White Latinos are white Latinos. And that's cool. There's nothing wrong, evil, demonic, negative about being a white Latino. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Do not try to blackfish us into thinking that we have to make them black people. Because they're not black. They're not identifying as black. You ain't gonna make them black. When you talk to them, they don't identify that way. And furthermore, they shouldn't. We're not here to draft anybody into blackness. They can be cool with us right there where they are. You trying to pull a game because you want to cross over where they are and they don't accept you as a white Latino. That's what the problem is for you, Miss Stamp. You wish you had white Latino credentials so that you could get the full acceptance. Y'all don't want me to go into this tonight, but I'm going there.
Join me, and I will complete your training.
Folks, I've got a bunch of folk that I know in all these places, New York, New Jersey, Detroit, Florida, California, Arizona, Texas. Let me just go ahead and let it reel on you. Whether it's from the Caribbean or Mexico, it really doesn't matter. When you go into a Mexican restaurant, they want to know if the chick you with is from the soil. And they gonna test her. I've had some people that I've walked into Mexican restaurants with in Texas. Y'all, they didn't know the deal. Remember, I used to live in Dallas. So these folks didn't know the deal. I knew what the deal was. You see, when you go down to Mexico, everybody speaks English down there. They might have some broken stuff, but they all speak English down there. Anybody, when you go off the airplanes, Mexico City, they all speak English down there. This me no speaking English and no hablo English, that's some garbage they run on you when they get here. When they come up here, all of a sudden nobody speaks English. You go down there, everybody speak English. You go to South America, everybody speak English. The passport bros don't learn to be bilingual. I don't give a damn what Austin Holloman told you. They don't learn to be bilingual. The women speak English down there. How else they gonna get the white men to trick off their money? White men ain't gonna learn how to speak nothing else. A white man would be insulted. You want him to speak another language. You gonna trick for him in English. It can be broken English, but ma'am, you gonna trick for him in English. You go down there and stuff, everybody's speaking English when you get down there. So when I go to a Mexican restaurant, I know the deal. Don't know how to cross the damn desert to a place where they won't be able to survive. They know how to speak English. So when you go to a Mexican restaurant, and here's how they test you. For those of you who don't know how this works, let me educate you right quick. Because there's a bunch of millennials in here. Hell, most of Gen X don't know. Millennials don't know. Gen Y, Gen Z damn sure don't know. Let me hit you some game right quick about how this works when you walk in those places. When you walk into a Mexican restaurant, they can see if you black. They can see if you're Anglo. If they come up to, now here's the thing. Sometimes if you're with somebody in your group, if they're light-skinned or if there's a question about it, what they'll do to test you is they'll come up talking in Spanish. Now they'll have a damn hostess at the front door and she's hitting you up in Spanish. Now you can see this big black Negro standing next to these people, and yet she's addressing us in Spanish. Well, that's because some of the folk I got next to me could pass for something else on a certain day of the week. So they're checking you and testing. Because the thing is, they want to know if you understand their language. The next thing is, don't ever tell them that you don't understand Spanish. Don't tell them that. Ask them if they speak English. Don't tell them you don't understand Spanish. They be talking about, you don't know. I'm not going to put that jacket on all of them. I'm going to say, you don't know when they talking about you like a dog. You don't know when they're sitting up here insulting you. So if they don't know that you don't know Spanish, they'll be a little more cautious. They'll be a little more cautious. If you got one person speak English, you tell them, yeah, I don't understand it. And you go ahead and do that. But don't tell them you don't understand Spanish, because if you're a person who can speak some Spanish, you'll be hearing some little slick stuff. You go in these places, you tell them you don't know no Spanish, they'll be saying some slick stuff. And I want you to learn that. I want you to understand and start hearing little things. That's why you need to start hearing insults, negro, blanca. You need to start hearing them kind of things, because they don't use that kind of language when in the restaurant business. Black and white isn't a word that's used in food service. They must be talking about a person. So when you go to these restaurants, when you go to these places and they address you, and their initial addressing of you is in Spanish, they're testing you. They want to find out, are you one of them? As soon as they establish that, that's going to set the tone for everything else. Now they're going to know how to deal with you. Once they want definitives. They don't want to be guessing. They want to know what you about. The other thing is, being black doesn't necessarily mean you don't know Spanish. So they're going to check on that first. Now let me go to the next step here. To my folks up in New York, You can talk about the bodega. You can talk about the corner store. You can talk about the grocery store. Around America now, they let them all them illegals. You got Spanish grocery stores in, what was that, the Spanish Mall in Atlanta, Spanish grocery stores all over Florida, Spanish grocery stores all over California. Okay, but here's the thing. You take your Afro-Latina ex ass up in there speaking Spanish. Them real Latinas, the Dominicanas and the Baricuas and the Mexican chicks, they're not accepting that. They know you are not from their soil. They ain't fooling with you. Language is spoken in a tone. And just like the tone of your voice communicates to somebody if you're hostile, just because you say gracias doesn't mean there ain't a tone to it. And I have been in these places with Latinas who will sit up here and they thought they were accepted or whatever the hell the case may be. In New York, in New Jersey, in Miami, I'm like, yeah, you're about to have a rough day. You're about to just have a rough day. When they sit there and stuff, and it's like, okay, people are sitting up here looking at you nutty. They're sitting up here talking with that tone. Gracias. Gracias. Real short and real sharp. Now, if your Latinx Afro-Latinas are honest with you, if your Latinx Afro-Latinas are honest with you, then they'll tell you, yeah, that's their experience when they go in these restaurants and these stores and these malls and these bodegas. They would, if they tell you the truth, they would tell you that that's their experience. Just as soon as them folk confirm that you're not one of them, yeah. But then, as soon as they can confirm you don't understand the language, they start talking slick. But they know you're not one of them. You get treated differently, and they want you to know you gonna get treated differently. You get treated different, and they make it a point to make sure you know you getting treated different. Because they are offended. Your presence offends them. And the crazy part for me, by the way, well, I say crazy after all these decades, but the crazy part for me is that this chick on the screen right here, man, look here, she's the rule. She's not the exception. She is going to walk into a damn bodega with them sitting up here talking to her all sassy, and she's just going to walk out and tell me, well, they're my peoples. And she'll be shocked when I sit here and say, ma'am, I watch y'all little wannabe Afro-Latinas get punked like this all the time. And they clown y'all all the time like this. They don't treat you all with respect. Ain't no La Familia when you show up. Ain't no La Familia when you show up. Shout out to former Mayor Suarez of Miami. I thought he was a smart guy. I thought he was a smart politician. We'll see what the future holds. You could definitely do a hell of a whole lot worse than electing him. I saw black folk dancing around him. Mayor Suarez is a politician. That's his job. What do the rank and file folk on the street do? Because y'all go cozying up to Mayor Suarez. I know he's not mayor anymore. They cozy up to Suarez. Okay, but what about the rest of them folk on the street? What about the Marco Rubios on the street? I don't see y'all booed up and cozied up to them. They ain't having it. They're not having it. So you're talking stupid and crazy as hell, and what you're really doing is fighting and jockeying for acceptance. And we let go of that foolish notion centuries ago. We never signed on to that. We signed on to empowerment, not acceptance. Because it ain't coming. And what you see is that the reason that they keep promoting folk like this is because at the end of the day, she wants acceptance outside of black society, but she has no pull outside of black society. So she attempts to use us to get attention for herself so that she can go to Bad Bunny and say, see, I'm on team Bad Bunny. All the bad built bunnies can stay over there. Let me go ahead and jump over here on Zoom right quick. Let me see if I can get Brother Shakur up here on Zoom for me here. What's on your mind, brother?
Couple of things, Jason. I heard a very disturbing report about this Epstein files, where his brother was saying that a lot of the people, some of the children from the Caribbean, were actually compromised by Jeffrey Epstein. He hated black people, and that he used some children from the Caribbean. I don't know if these reports are substantial. That they had this brother on this other.
Okay, brother, let me find out here. What's that got to do with tonight's program?
Well, you were talking about the Caribbeans, and you were talking about, like how are they gaining acceptance, and that would be trafficking their children, because you've always said that white supremacists, come after children. So that's what I was thinking, that, the report said that they had trafficking Caribbean children and African children.
Well, I mean, that's one of the things we've been talking about for a long time here is the trafficking of children, the sexualization of minors. That's an issue, man. That's an issue south of the border. That's an issue in the Caribbean. That's an issue on African soil. We're really the only group here that does not have a culture and history of condoning that and accepting that. But anybody, let me remind y'all again, if you live in California, if you live in Texas, if you live in Florida, if you live in New York, y'all know how they do them little young kids, particularly the girls. It ain't nothing for a 13-year-old girl, Latina girl, white Latino girl in particular, Latina girl, period, but specifically the white Latinas. It ain't nothing for a 13-year-old to have 40-year-old men driving down the street whistling them and knowing they 13. So in Los Angeles and San Diego, man, that's not even new. That's just the way it's been. So it's been real grimy for a long time. And when you go down to South America, there's a reason why the passport bros, and let me say one more time, passport bros did not start with black men, they started with white men. What? No, I mean just the term itself. Passport bros is not something that black men started. It's something that black men glommed onto and popularized, but that's something started by white men. The passport bros, not just, expats or whatever. No, passport bros, quote, passport bros. That was white men. And we all know what they were doing. They're not going down to South America. You done bombed their damn countries and impoverished them. What the hell's so great down there? There's only two things they got. They got beaches and underage kids. And lo and behold, that's what's been going on. So they've been doing that for a while. And quiet is kept. A lot of that happened in the Caribbean too. Quiet is kept. There's a reason Jeffrey Epstein set up shop there. There's a reason he got a whole damn island. Oh, yeah, and one more reminder, he had a bunch of black employees from that area working for him out there.
Nigga, what?
They didn't blow the whistle on him. Jeffrey Epstein had planes, trains, and automobiles landing for decades. None of them folk ever snitched him out. They didn't say nothing. They getting off that plane with adolescent girls coming walking through there. Nobody reported him to the authorities. If they did, the damn authorities didn't do nothing. You know why? Epstein knew he was safe there. He didn't go there guessing if he was safe. He chose a place that already accepts what he was going to do and said, let me turn this into Walmart. Let me turn this into a super Walmart. So, no, dude, he did not end up where he ended up by accident, and everybody around him, he went to places where they were already on the same thing. So that part right there is no surprise at all. He got in trouble with chicks who came from outside of there. The Russian chicks didn't get him in trouble. It was stateside that got him in trouble. But everything else, no.
I know Shabuzi got a Grammy, but instead he should have gotten a Sammy, which is short for Sambo, because that's what he was doing, some Samboing. And one final point, when we're talking about these immigrants, Ilhan Omar, they said that she came in with very little money and now she's worth 30 million. Well, I was thinking that if she's that type of financial genius, she could make way more money on Wall Street than she can being a lowly congressperson if she's that much of a financial wizard.
Yes, it's amazing how folks go to Congress and get in the government, and then they come in working class and they leave multimillionaires on a salary of $200,000 a year. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that just miraculous? And yet in the private sector, she wasn't able to do that for herself. So just amazing how that occurs. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Yeah, y'all, I mean, just quiet as kept. They know what's going on there and be proud of it. That's a whole different program for me to do, but in the Caribbean and whatnot, man, that's a thing. That's a thing. That's why when Luther Campbell came up here with this kind of music that was primarily marketed and promoted to black kids and teenagers, he didn't think nothing of that. The rest of us have felt some kind of way. So you see, when I see a Nicki Minaj and kids at the concert and a Cardi B and kids at the concert, see, for those of us who come from the foundational soil, that don't sit right with us. We ain't sitting up here trying to talk about wet females in front of a bunch of kids. For us, it's like, wait a minute. No, we don't do this. This ain't nothing. We got a wrong audience here. But for these folk here, this is their contribution to the culture. And it's like, yeah, they brought their culture to this because this ain't a thing for them. It's no problem at all. You see, when we talk about carnival, well, they don't. I've said this for years and years. It upsets folk when I talk about this. In New York, you got to hold this at carnival with all the kids out there. Hell, I'm not going to just stick this on America, because whether you go North America, South America, Central America, when you got Haiti, when they got their celebrations with the women out there with their pasties on in the middle of the streets, the grown men talking about damn she thick, but do you see all these children around them? So on the one hand, there's a reason why the Luther Campbells don't say a whole lot about drag queen shows. There's a reason why individuals like Miss Nilani Stamp don't say anything about them drag queen shows. It's like, okay, because they're used to putting all these sexually exploitative things right in front and center with their kids. To them, that ain't no big deal. That ain't no big issue. Where's the scandal? So when they get around us and we ain't rocking with it, they think there's something wrong with us. They think that we have a problem because we're not sitting there smiling about that. We're like, hey, this ain't cool. This ain't cool at all. I'm like, what's wrong with it? My mom and my daddy was playing this all day. Okay. So these folks don't end up in these places by accident. This is why we have to firmly establish what the code is for us. And we don't do any of this and firmly establish you are not going to roll us over into your degeneracy. Not going to roll us over into that. Let me go ahead and get Brother Elijah up here on Zoom right quick for me. But matter of fact, I might have to get somebody to call BSCCNY. I don't know. I might have you call up here in just a moment here since you have such a question. Since you have such a question here, I might have to have you call up here in a moment. All right, Brother Elijah, what's on your mind?
Hey, B1, Big Brother Jason, B1. So you had a lot of people on the line. So I'm going to ask this real fast. I can never. Can you ever find the time to excuse me? Can you I'm trying to articulate it. Can you point to me a time that a big major degenerate like Luther porn star Campbell has ever been a politician in human history? And we're just talking about outside of the slave masters. We know they were the biggest degenerates.
I mean, well, no. I mean, he's fighting for relevance. I don't know if it's a publicity stunt or not. For him to even have the delusion that he could ever be taken seriously on a political level. I mean, this is comedy hour. It really, really is. So I don't know what his angle is. As far as I'm concerned, there's no universe, there's no world where he seriously thinks that he can be taken as a serious candidate for anything other than a strip club bouncer at this point. I don't see it. I don't see it.
Big brother, though, from listening to tonight's program and when you was talking about Jeffrey Epstein, can we just keep it a buck? The FBA community down there in South Florida, the Miami-Dade County over there, they're outnumbered by a bunch of tethers down there. It's unfortunate and everything like that. I wouldn't be surprised if this man, and he's a tether himself, I wouldn't be surprised if his fellow tethers let this man in office.
I mean, they would have to support him for it. I'm not going to say I would be surprised or whatever. I would just say it's outrageously unlikely because the white politician's not going to get behind him.
Of course not.
He's already served his usefulness back in the 90s being a contaminant. That was his job. That was his purpose, was to be a contaminant. So that was the reason why they did that. As far as Florida is concerned, I mean, once again, we go back to Kennedy. We go back to the wet foot, dry foot, statute. I remember back in the 60s, Florida was not seen the way it is today. Florida was not this great, fantastic destination resort. It was a big ass swamp. It had beaches, but remember, beaches did not become valuable until the 20th century.
Right.
It was only once we developed reclamation technology and that's not really what did it. What did it was America became a first world industrialized economy with vacation ability. And so going to, quote, the beach became a thing. So now you become so mechanized and technologically advanced that you can choose your geographic location to control the climate.
Right.
So Florida became a destination for New Yorkers, the so-called snowbirds. So it became a vacation resort, and there just became more and more and more and more of them until eventually places started blowing up. So Florida just had the fortune of being where it is geographically, topographically, meteorologically. So they're not very prone to snow, and so that became the draw for them. We get to the middle of the 20th century. Here comes Walt Disney. And, that really, really helped. We get to the 1980s. Here come the drug dealers who brought billions of dollars into the Florida economy. Not millions, billions of dollars. So you had a bunch of forces that converged. And in the midst of all, the drug dealers put their money into making drugs and nightclubs. That was their thing. They like buying cars and nightclubs. So when they made their money, that's what they like to do. Cars and nightclubs. And being in Miami was a whole lot more fly than what they were doing down there in Bogota. So when you put all that together, I went through that explanation to say, when you put all that together, your failed attempt to overthrow Castro, attempting to destabilize Cuba by allowing anybody who wants to leave with no real plan about how this is going to hurt Castro. You thought, I guess they thought they were going to send them all back to go retake their homeland, and we saw that didn't happen.
Right.
So all you really ended up doing was flooding that zone. Now, you had a lot of us down there, so that certainly helped with the idea.
Yes, sir.
We were on beaches before beaches were cool to be on. I've explained that to y'all before. When it comes to these swamps and these beaches, all these... and here's another thing. Folks, okay, swamp. Let me go ahead and talk about that right quick tonight while we're on the subject of swamps.
Yes, sir.
So when you'll hear about Lake Lanier or Great Dismal Swamp or the bayous in Louisiana or whatever, we don't really call them that today. In reality, they don't call them swamps today, people. What do they call them? Wetlands.
Yes, sir.
So when you think about the swamp, you're thinking about Crystal Lake and Jason Voorhees, and there's some crazy music. Okay, but in reality, most of the so-called swamps today, folks, those are high-priced real estate. We call them wetlands. So you got a pond and where fish can be. So everything is not about, big trees with the hanging moss off of them and stuff. The stuff you called swamps back then, we call them wetlands now. And if you can put a residence on it or a development, it's high-priced real estate, and Florida is full of it. So we were the folks in the so-called swamps and the beaches, because we had been pushed out of the arable land where the agriculture was, where the cities were built, where the easy potable water was, where the easily accessible fresh water was. So just remember, it's not about just not being near water. It's about they wanted to push us away from fresh water because they were trying to annihilate us. And yet we found a way to survive.
Yes, sir.
But they were pushing you away from the central regions and stuff to get you to, in the hopes what the Israelis are doing with the Gazans, Palestinians, push you into the damn sea because, okay, if you're at the beach, ain't nothing there but salt water.
Right.
Well, you can't really do nothing with salt water. That's dangerous. So you can't drink it. And we found a way to deal with those things as well. So keep that in mind. That was what they came to Florida and found. They found us in these wetlands. They found us on these beaches. And in the middle of the 20th century, that's when America becomes so prosperous that folks who have vacation ability, all of a sudden, they want to be on the beachfront and have the waterfront and oceanfront.
Yes, sir.
All of a sudden. So from California to Florida, first order of business is move them niggas out.
Right.
First order of business is to ethnically cleanse, racially cleanse where we at. But that was what Florida was before these people showed up. So a lot of things happened, and yes, they ended up flooding the zone with a bunch of other folk here, and they didn't get our permission, didn't get our insight, didn't get our anything.
Yes, sir.
And by the way, white society was not screaming and yelling about this at the time when it happened either.
Right.
Because they knew where they were going. Just like they were dropping all the Vietnamese in New Orleans. You didn't hear white folk complaining about that. They were dropping all the Cubans in Southern Florida. All right, right on the niggas' heads. Good. They'll be their problem. And now you see what the situation is 5 decades later.
Yes, sir.
So, no, it was not accidental. It was passive, but not accidental.
Yes, sir. I got one last question. When you speaking about what you just said about the beach and everything like that, and I don't know, I haven't been to a beach in a long time, but you're more of an authority on this one. Is there when you was discussing about the beachfront and everything, when you was talking about Charleston, South Carolina, with our big brother Marcel Dixon, I do have a question. Is there any last black populated beaches, possibly, maybe and that's South Carolina, Georgia, anything? Or is
the reason why people like Brother Marcel and the Gullah Geechee are fighting about that is because that's really the only one really left. It really, really is. I mean, this is the short explanation of what happened is the snowbirds leapfrogged from, they had beaches up north, but they get cold. They're really nice in the summertime.
Yes, sir.
New York is very nice in the summertime as far as climate and stuff. It's very nice to be in the summertime. Take this from a person in Louisiana. It doesn't have a lot of humidity and things like that, so it's outrageously pleasant to be in the summertime.
Yes,
so
sir.
Going to the beaches there is great in the summertime. In the winter, it's ice cold hell.
Yes, sir.
So those people wanted to maintain that, especially as they got older. So that's why being snowbirds and having a second residence down in Florida, because it was dirt cheap back in the 60s and 70s and 80s. That's when you watch television shows like The Golden Girls. That's what that was.
Yes,
Golden
sir.
Girls was a bunch of New Yorkers who were retiring in Florida because long before black folks started selling their townhouses and moving to the Carolinas, the white folk were selling their property or getting a second property in Florida. And when they retired, when Florida was dirt cheap, they could just bounce back and forth from one to the other. And that was what they did. Well, what's happened is Florida was the one that got prospered first. So the beachfront there became a thing. But once again, and this is the quietest kept part,
yes,
Florida is not self-built. Neither is California. For those of you who do not know, if you've been to any of the beaches in Florida, Miami, Clearwater, Jacksonville, or any other place there, we have a federal program called reclamation. For those of you who don't know, I'm reminding you yet again that this is not corporations and this is not pulling themselves about their bootstraps while they're talking to you and wagging their finger at your face about welfare and why can't y'all just pay for your own stuff? Why don't y'all pay for your own damn beaches? Florida's coastline is a beneficiary of a federal program called reclamation. And every 10, 20 years, they send the machines out there to go dredge up sand from the ocean to replenish or reclaim, thus the reclamation of the coastline.
Yes, sir.
So that's why their sand, anybody who's been to Clearwater, you know that stuff is white and hard as concrete. Well, yeah, because it's not sand. It's actually sand and coral reef. It's actually sand and coral because those machines suck up everything.
Yes, sir.
They suck up all of it. So they're also sucking up the coral reef too. So the sand isn't white. That's sand and a bunch of other stuff. It's sucked up. So the whole Florida coastline, California coastline, and the program gives priority based on your tourism.
Yes, sir.
So it has a requirement for tourism. So if your tourism qualifies and justifies it, you get money to have the reclamation done on your coastline. That's why Florida has it, Georgia has it, the Carolinas have it, California has it, and Louisiana doesn't.
Whoa.
Well, because our coastline was chosen for oil.
Oh, okay. Yes,
so
sir.
you see, now we do have a beach, by the way. We actually do have one.
Yes, sir.
But we don't have any real reclamation protection for it.
Yes, sir.
Now, Texas is a little bit different if you dare to go down to Galveston. Texas is a little bit different. You pay your money and take your chances.
Oh, wow.
But in any case, like I say, there's a reason why you see that in Florida and California and now the Carolinas and Georgia. Well, yeah, if your area has the tourism for it. So the whole East Coast, the whole Eastern Seaboard has reclamation.
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, that's a government program, dude.
Yes, sir.
That's a federal government program. What I'm saying is that when the white folk finally decided they wanted to have the damn beaches, here comes the federal government to make sure they had it and could keep it.
Yes, sir.
What about us?
Right.
You hear absolutely no one even suggesting the same thing for us. That's my point.
Yes, sir.
So what I'm saying is that to answer your question there, the federal government's ganged up on us.
Yes, sir.
It is government policy to underwrite, as Dr. King said, undergird.
Yes, sir.
The Europeans with an economic floor. The government's coming in to make sure you're going to be good. Okay, you go by the houses, we'll make sure everything stays just like it is right here. Because in reality, the ocean would have swallowed those things decades ago. The ocean would have, were down there in Florida, Ocean Boulevard, the ocean would have taken that under decades ago if it weren't for reclamation. Clearwater, Jacksonville Beach, Daytona, all of them.
Yes, sir.
Pebble Beach, Myrtle Beach, the ocean would have taken those under decades ago if it weren't for reclamation.
Yes, sir.
So that's why they have to have that. So they can't be there without it. And
yes,
now,
sir.
where the black folk are, you get no help.
Right.
The situation has become more hazardous now because Florida is completely gentrified and taken over. Practically every square inch of beach in Florida is now taken.
Yes, sir.
When you go up into the Carolinas, the folks who missed the boat in Florida, because if you didn't get in 20 years ago, you didn't get in.
Yes, sir.
Georgia has now been taken over. Now they're all fighting over what's left in the Carolinas. Which
yes,
is,
sir.
They don't like doing that because it snows in those places. So you don't really get that year-round tropical, some of the perks of a year-round tropical environment that Florida has. But this is all you got left. So they're fighting over that. Now you deal with the islands out there. For those of you who didn't know.
Yes, sir.
Off the coast of the Carolinas and Virginia, they got islands. They're all broken up. You should go see them. It's a sight to see. Croatoa. But in any case, now you're really just fighting over that, to be totally honest. Now they're just fighting over that. That's all that's left is the scraps.
Yes, sir.
and you're not going to get any. There's not really a whole lot of protection for that. So this is where we at, and we don't really own any of those. I went to that to say, by the way, everybody who wants their own private island or stuff, those are the ones you're fighting over if you want to still be in the continental U.S. and don't want to be down there in Epstein land. Well, that's where they are.
Yes, sir.
So up there in the Northeast and whatnot, yeah, you can't really get in up there.
Right.
That was taken over decades ago. So there's people like Stephen King and stuff, and because they come from Maine and places like that. But where we at, we don't have any mainland support on the islands. We can't be out there. So it's just in the swampland areas or wherever the Gullah Geechee are, just right by the shore. That's pretty much it. But we don't have any black beachfront property, brother. They ethnically cleansed us from that decades ago.
Yes, sir.
Which is why Bruce's Beach was such a big spiritual thing for me.
Yes, sir.
That's why that was a huge spiritual thing for me. As far as I'm concerned, give me the $20 million and the beach, and we're going to just sit on this.
Right.
I would rather have, if I were the family, I'm getting the beach. Y'all going to give me $20 million, and I'll be lobbying here for the next decade to change the zoning and everything else.
Yes, sir.
Because if you've never been to El Segundo or to Bruce's Beach, also known as Manhattan Beach today, I have been there.
I have too, sir.
I have literally been there, so you walk down that long ass hill to get down to the bottom. There's the oyster place where the parking garage is right across the street.
Yeah, yeah.
And you take this long ass walk down to the beach, and you seen the houses there. You see the houses on the beachfront there and folk walking. You can see the planes coming into LAX. They fly over the beach. You can see the planes. They got like this little oil refinery there on the beach. They got the planes coming to land on the beach. And it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. The sunset is to die for, and they wanted to kill us for it. So that's been confirmed.
Yes,
and what
sir.
I'm saying is that, okay, for me, it's like, okay, let me get this beach. All right, let me get this $20 million here. And, oh, no, we just started. You're going to change the zoning. No, you're going to give us back exactly what you took from us.
Yes, sir.
You took the land. We gave you $20 million. That you owe me that? What do you mean you ain't give me nothing? You can't give me what you owe me.
Yes, sir.
With a century of interest? As a matter of fact, you actually, my envelope is light. You don't get my envelope is a little light. I feel like that number needs to be close to 100 million.
Brother, it should have been $1 billion if you want to be technical.
So you give us our land, and you are going to give us, the only thing you're going to give me is the zoning that I'm supposed to have. And right up at the top of the hill, you got a bunch of bars up there, man. A bunch of bars, a bunch of restaurants. Like I say, it's hard for anybody who hasn't been to Los Angeles to see that there because, if you take Rosecrans all the way out, there's a big long street to go straight through Compton.
Oh, yes.
And so it ends there at the beach. And what I'm saying is that El Segundo, there's a bunch of bars and restaurants and things for California and for Los Angeles. I got to tell folks the story about what it is because for folks who haven't been there or don't know this particular specific place, there's a whole bunch of bars and stuff at the top of that damn hill. Okay, well, there used to be one on the damn beach before y'all ethnically cleansed it.
Yes, sir.
The Bruces had one on the beach. They had one. They had an inn. They had a hotel inn and their own restaurant there. They had that. So you can't give me that. This is reparations. This is giving back what the hell you took. This isn't anything extra.
Yes, sir.
Now, where would that family be now with a century of property appreciation?
Yes.
How much would that be now?
Yes, sir.
After a century of appreciation of land values, how much would it be worth today? So that's the kind of thing. That was what happened.
Yes, sir.
That was what happened. That's not a 19th century advent. That's a 20th century thing. In the case of Bruce's Beach, they wanted to ethnically cleanse it because they saw we found a way to make that work. Nobody knew how big or popular the beaches were going to be till we get to the middle of the 20th century. That's when they really figure out, okay, this is going to be valuable. But they were running us out of there before then, once they started coming into it. So that's where we're at today. So for us, it's about reclamation and reparations now. But we don't have anything substantive there, which is why we are going to have to demand our reparations for that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey,
I mean, brother, these are places that would make money just sitting there. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Y'all, these are places that would make money. I mean, if you open an Airbnb on these islands, you go take a look at some of the stuff they took from us. If you had an Airbnb, them things, that would just be a license to print money. If we still had our holdings and our land that they took from us on these beaches and stuff, man, you'd have a license to print money. You wouldn't even have to do nothing. You would just have a license to print money. My folks in Florida, y'all know what it's like in Daytona and Pebble Beach and Jacksonville Beach. You know, because it used to be that Miami was the one that was flooded over with people. It used to be that was Miami. Now in Jacksonville Beach, they close things down and they don't want folk. They're trying to limit the number of folk coming through there and stuff now. So it's popping in all these places. Tampa is still trying to get its act together. What? There's no shade. Tampa is still trying to get its act together. So I don't know what we're gonna do with Tampa. And they still never mind. But dude, if we still had our holdings there, I mean, these are places that on beachfront property, man, you have a license to print money. If you had set up for it and stuff, and it's just, okay, we own this, you want to go ahead and renovate it, redevelop it. Instead, what they've done is make sure that only these large white corporations, they only allow development where the white corporations are. So the Hilton basically owns the damn, the Myrtle Beach? Them high-rise hotels on Myrtle Beach, that's Hilton now. So whatever Hilton missed the boat on in Florida, they're taking all of it in the Carolinas as much as they can. Okay, but that belonged to us. That belonged to us. So you all would be shocked and surprised, man. Let me go ahead and say this right quick before I get my next person over here on Zoom. I got Huey up here on Zoom. I'll get to him right here in a moment. Y'all, I mean, like, how much fighting do we have to do with these people and they damn HOAs? If you had one of them islands out there, if you had beachfront property or whatnot and zoning, man, get these folks the hell out your damn face. They got you under the thumb to all these other things right here. Yeah, you created HOAs to target us. If we actually own those things and whatnot, you'd have a license to print money. They can't say a damn thing about it to you there. That right there, man. That right there. Those are the things that we didn't even have a conversation. Not even having a conversation about it. So, of course, these seem like new concepts. Well, it's a new concept when absolutely nobody in the family is even... Right now, you have a situation where nobody in living memory in your family has ever been on that beach. So, in other words, they have basically divorced you spiritually, emotionally, and intellectually from those places. You didn't even know there was anybody there who was on the beach before. It's like, yeah, we were on that beach. This was ours. What the hell happened? We got militarily removed. Well, this is ours. And by the way, they don't want you talking about it in terms of this is ours. But for the white supremacists, they're always telling you that America is theirs. They don't ever want you to speak of it in those terms. Let me go ahead and jump back on this Zoom here again here. Let me see if we can get Brother Huey up here on Zoom for me. All right, Huey, what's on your mind?
Not much, Chase. A wonderful broadcast as always. It's funny with these immigrants when they don't have something to go off on, they have to use us as a scapegoat for everything. And also with these immigrants, when they come over here and say that they can do all this stuff better than Black America, but then when they get sent back to their homeland, man, I literally when I saw like this one old lady get deported back to Ghana, she was putting on the tears, brother. She was like pro Black African, like, you know, we all Black, you know, this shouldn't happen to us. And it's funny because these same people, when they get all the accolades and all the the rewards. It's, you see the Nigerian flag, shout out to the NFL players and all that stuff. But it's like,
no, if it's not us when you winning, then it's not us when you losing. This where we at today. If you didn't say it was us when you were up, don't try to make it us when you down. No, if it's you when you up, then it's going to be you when you down. It's all you. But this game you play where our job is just to support you and be your dummy, it's like, wait a minute, we are generous. We were never your dummies. That was never the case. So you got to pop up and pop out and let them know it's like, we see what you're doing. From here on in, you're on your own.
Oh, yeah. And it's going to have to be that way. Like, when people get deported to their homelands, like, hey, listen, at one point you were shitting on us. You were saying that, we weren't nothing. And then now when you go back to your homeland, you're saying that, oh, well, it's bad over here. We don't have running waters. We don't have an infrastructure. Well, if you didn't flee your country, you would have an infrastructure to go to. That's my whole point. It's like, you say that if you were to get deported out of America, you would have your homeland. I'm like, all right, well, cool. Hey, you're at your homeland. I'll do something now.
Yeah, I mean, because the equivalent for us would be if, we lost Bruce's Beach and then we all leave and go to Canada or the Bahamas or, well, why would you go to the Bahamas? They coming over here. Like if we went to Great Britain or something, that would be the equivalent for us. If there were going to be an equivalent, okay, we lost what was ours, and so we all just got up and left and went to a whole new country because they wasn't doing right by us where we are. No, the example you see with us is we right here. We in the streets. We turn it up. We're sitting up here kicking in the doors and telling them you're going to restore what's ours. Totally different response from these other people. Because if it had been them, they all would have left Alabama or California, and they'd be off in Australia somewhere. Talking about they love white supremacy in Australia. So our response, when they see us responding the way that we do, this is just a totally foreign thing to them. They're not used to the idea that could happen. They don't know what it is, and they're not used to the idea that could even occur.
Yeah, definitely. Like, we're trying, like with the FBA that we are, we don't have a place to run, to be honest with you.
Not true. Oh, no. Oh, no. No, listen, I got to tell y'all, no, not true. Brother, if we are the most well-developed black folk on the face of the planet, if we wanted to flee, we could flee anywhere. And not only would we flee, it would be fly as hell wherever we landed.
Deal with it, nigga.
So let's be clear, brother. If anybody had the resources and the capability and ability to do so, it would have been us. If we wanted to flee, we would make fleeing look like an art form. So we were told we are the people most capable of fleeing. The difference is we were the ones most resistant to fleeing. It ain't because we couldn't do it. We've had the ability to get up and run and flee the whole damn time. We said, no, we're not doing it. So let me make sure everybody understands. We had places we could flee. You had some black folk who went up to Canada. You had some. You had some who went down to Mexico. You had some, or should I say back to Mexico. What? If we really gonna get technical about the lineage of it, I should say back to Mexico. So yeah, we had black folk who crossed a few of them who crossed the border here and there. If we really wanted to take that route, yeah, we could have done that. We had places we could run to. Hell, you had the federal government. Hey, don't y'all want to go to Liberia? So, brother, yeah, we could have. We certainly have had a few offers. Not how genuine they were, but yeah, we had some offers. Like, yeah, we ain't taking you up on none of these offers. Yeah, your cousin who went to Canada, yeah, I hope you enjoying the snow and the ice in Toronto. I ain't coming. Your homeboy went down to Tijuana. Hey, dude, I got away from Jim Crow. I'm down here in Tijuana. Hey, brother, well, have a margarita. I can't go with you. You went over to Liberia talking about, hey, we starting a revolution over here. So, okay, well, good luck on that revolution because I won't be with you. I'm going to be right here. What do they say to you, brother? What have we been hearing now for the last 4-5 decades? Why y'all staying in America with all that racism and white supremacy? It'd be easier if you was over here. We've been hearing that now for 5-6 decades, dude. Don't you want to be over here? No, not really. What about that racism and white supremacy? I'm not running. Because if we did that, that would then become our culture.
Yeah, I agree, Jason. I do take that back. We did have the opportunity to flee, but we have to be strong because here's the thing, though. Like when you topple, it's like white supremacy is like a head or several heads to be exact. If you defeat one head, the next defeat of that head will lead to the next defeat and to the next defeat because, like Neely Fuller said, white supremacy is global. It's not just tied to America.
Well, that's why I want you all to understand what you're seeing from everybody all the way around. We're not hating on anybody. We are just making sure everybody's got clarity. It's about having clarity. And one of the things we had here with folks who they've been playing this game of pretending to be with us and pretending to be on the team, and then we let them talk for a few minutes. Now they've diluted it. All these folk coming in with their ulterior motives and ulterior alternate agendas, coming up in our faces, smiling and stuff. It's like, no, there's going to be clear lines of communication. That's what it's going to be. If you want to help the Caribbean, y'all supposed to stick to what you were doing there before. Pan-Africanism, practiced properly, would have been the salvation of the Caribbean. It would have been. Because the Caribbean suffers from three things. Basically a military oversight, because you under the gun in the United States. And you don't really have what it takes to fight the world's largest military. You don't have the political ability. You don't have the physical ability to fight it. You don't have the political ability to fight it. And you don't have the cultural ability to fight it. Please understand, we're master messengers. We perfected the art of crafting messages. When you say that folk are adopting our slang, that's a message we're sending. So we have become very skilled and very adept at getting people to hear what we have to say and adopting that. Now you move that over to our agenda. Next thing you know, everybody's saying cut the check. Next thing you know, everybody is saying foundational. Next thing you know, everybody is saying reparations across the board. That nobody was saying that in the Caribbean until we started saying it here. Okay, but if we don't back your play, you're not getting it. Now, there were some folks, brother. Now, Huey, you've been here with me for a minute, which is why I'm about to do this right here. Brother, you were here with me a few years ago when Queen Elizabeth II died. Oh, I'm going to remind y'all. I'm going to remind you. Oh, I'm going to remind you. I'm going to remind you, brother. It's been a few years now, ain't it? Now, it's been a few years since since Queen Elizabeth II died. Wait a minute, brother. Remember all the folks that I was reminding. By the way, take a look at all these Caribbean islands here that are part of the British Commonwealth.
Yep, I remember this.
Okay, but do you remember suckers, ass idiots in the damn chat room trying to save face, and they gonna leave the Commonwealth? It's in the legislation right now that they gonna leave. Hey, brother Huey, we a few years later. How's that legislation coming along?
Oh, man, they still there. Man. They still moping.
It's brother. A few years later. Tell me how we leaving the British Commonwealth legislation is coming along, y'all. Now, you can't blame that on me. I've got nothing to do with that, but I told you then, you full of bull jive. That ain't going nowhere. How'd that work out? How'd that age? Yeah. How did that age for you? I told you that they are not going to leave that because they want to be honorary Brits. You are wrong, brother. Bumbaclat. You are wrong there, brother. This is the problem right there. You don't understand. They do not speak for the real Jamaicans. They do not speak for the real Jamaicans, man. Okay, I told you. Yes, they do. Here we are. What, 3-4 years later? They still don't speak for y'all? They still don't? Because from where I'm standing, yeah, ain't nothing changed. Which is exactly what I said it was going to be. No, you're not going to give that up. Any more than the Haitians want to give up being French. They identify as Frenchmen. They don't want to have to give that up. So they're trying to figure out a way to get the white supremacists to stop beating them to death, but at the same time not give up that identity. The whites, they're like, okay, you got to take the identity and the beating. He's like, well, let me hold on this identity till you get tired of beating on me. Okay, well, good luck on that one because he likes beating. So, like I say, brothers, that's where they're at. And if they're going to get that off of them, it's going to come through us. Ain't going to be no other way. Anything else is a pipe dream. Anything else is delusional. Anything else. You are not going to get their clutches from around your throat if we don't back your play. Because you don't have the physical infrastructure, you don't have the political infrastructure, and you don't have the cultural one either. Which is a tough pill to swallow, but Marcus Garvey, you ain't had it since Garvey, and you didn't have it then either. You've never had it. There's just a few folk in Jamaica who are riding, but they're not going to make nothing move unless we back the play. It's not going to go anywhere. You're not going to do it. You're not going to have a bunch of knockoff trap Caribbean music get this thing mobilized. By the way, one more thing. Every few months we hear them trying to tell us that something else is going to overtake the sphere. Drill going to overtake things. By the way, y'all, how's Drill living today? Damn! Oh, brother, I got to do this retrospective right quick. I got to do it. Remember, they've been working so hard to bring in all these other folk they thought was going to replace us. How's Drill doing overtaking things, y'all? How's that going? How's that going? Okay. The Raggeton Revolution? All right, how's that going? Okay, sure. World music. Y'all remember when that one? World music. Remember that, folks? Every year they come up, they try to introduce a new candidate to knock us off the stage and take the spotlight. How's that world music working out, y'all? How's that world music going? Used to have a few folk here from Florida. Shout out Florida. Used to have a few folks here from Florida. They was on that wave for a minute. Okay, all right. How'd that world music thing work out? Yeah, the Afro beats. Yeah, y'all know it. Yeah. How's Afro beats coming along? Y'all remember was it Ebro?
Yeah.
Was it Ebro who was telling all of us that Afro beats was gonna take over? Was that Ebro who said that?
Yeah, that was him, bro.
Okay. I just want to make sure I remember all the names, all the folk who were telling us about what was going to be the new thing and what it was going to be. Oh, yeah, and where's Ebro from? New York. Now, as far as his lineage before that, y'all can go into that yourselves. But, yeah, by the way, them cats sitting up there in New York, and I get it. Some of y'all see something from the Dominican Republic come swinging, them hips go by, and just you mesmerize. You's hypnotized. As my man Boosie say, hypnotized. Okay, I get it, but yeah, over here we are sober. We are not under hypnosis. So some of y'all, that's the gateway thing for you. This Dominicana chick sitting up here throwing them hips around, and you at the club vibing, and next thing you know, you want to be an honorary Dominican, and you might bump into something cute from Jamaica. Next thing you know is you trying to give us that talk there. Okay. If Ebro is from the West Coast, he'll do till the East Coast nigga gets here. But in any case, like I say, they get there and then they get brainwashed. They get there and then they start identifying. It's like they start losing their minds. And so they start talking silly. So everything becomes about how do you use us as your foundation, pardon the expression, and so that you can start turning the conversation in a different direction. And you can't do it among white folk because they're not going to let you even start it. Well, guess what? We're not going to let you even start it. You're not even going to start this conversation anymore. We don't even want to hear it. You're not even going to open up a line of discussion. And they tried every damn thing. I'm just reminding y'all, the last 7 years, y'all realize how much stuff they told us was going to take over the sphere and was going to take over the stage. One after another, after another, after another. If they were going to be able to kickstart leading the cultural conversation from Shabooty Boozy or any damn body else, we've seen this movie every year. This is just the latest one. You all are not going to be able to lead the cultural conversation. It ain't happening. You've had the corporations try to put a battery in your back. It ain't coming. You tried it more than once. All you can really do is imitate what we done did. Okay, but the heart and soul ain't there. If you're going to dig into it, you got to carry the whole thing. You're not going to be able to take this and co-opt it. When the soul is gone from it, it ain't going to work. It is not going to work. So you tried this. If any of them Raggeton people, if Bad Bunny was going to start a political thing, it would be happening. He doesn't have one political song of any merit. That's how you know ain't nothing coming. DJ Khaled watching the Palestinians get bombed into oblivion and his own family calling him out. Y'all ain't gonna get a movement moving on the musical tip. You don't have the legacy of it. Bob Marley, you had one Bob Marley, and obviously he got the game from us because none of you have been able to replicate it. And by the way, and it really didn't have any roots in Jamaica either. Y'all sang the songs, you didn't live the life. He came over here because you gotta live that life. You gotta live that. And y'all have a record not living that. So as far as who gonna live it, we're the only ones who live it. So we're the only ones who actually know how to transport this culturally. Everybody else just gonna be sitting there looking. So yeah, some folks forgot about world music. I'm like, yeah, y'all forgot some of the one-hit wonders and also rans. Raggeton, drill, world music, Afro beats. Your biggest names in New York radio swearing up and down what was about to happen. Can't find a one of them today to stand by that. Then again, I might hire Ebro. What? Damn! I heard Ebro is available now, so I might see if I can give him a part-time position. I'll let you have the last word.
Not much, man. Just FBA, just like I said, just keep delineating. Watch out, cause some of these tethers are coming unhinged, bro. So just watch out. Watch out for that crazy chick up in Washington, D.C. trying to bomb us. Just watch out. These people are crazy. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Yeah, a bunch of y'all forgot about that. They're like, damn, Jason, I forgot about world music. And yeah, y'all, they tried everything over the last 7 years. Don't you all realize how many times they tried to take over and hijack the scene? And it's like, okay, if you were ever going to catch traction, you would have done it by now. It doesn't take this damn long with all the support you allegedly got. Wyclef Jean couldn't do it. Oh, man. Wyclef Jean is taken more seriously in America than he is in Haiti. No disrespect whatsoever. Ain't none of them caught traction nowhere, and they tried. Akon ain't catching no traction, Scam Cities or not. They tried. This isn't you didn't try and didn't have an opportunity. You tried. You've been trying. You're trying over and over again. Does anybody remember Nollywood? Damn! Anybody remember Nollywood? 20 years ago, 15 years ago, the white media was telling you that Nollywood was going to take over the world. Tell me the last major film to come out in Nollywood. I'll wait. So far as I know, Issa Rae is over here turning tricks.
Sit your ass down.
Far as I know. Yeah, y'all don't want us to just go down all the names that have been left on the roadside, the derelicts left over there. They've been trying. They keep telling you that we running things, and then the message goes nowhere. They've been trying to make some motion. They've been trying to move some things. They've had the white media try to brainwash all of us into thinking, well, things is happening. Okay, I just got to remind you, every time you turn around YouTube, take a look at what these kids are doing over there. They've made a film. They've made a short. I'm like, okay, 15, 20 years later, how's that going? Because I see what's happening in China, and I see what's happening in Korea. How's Nollywood coming along? They on Netflix yet? No? All right. So yeah, y'all, they've been trying it. They're going to continue. They'll write their articles. They'll say these things. We come back in a few years, that wave is ended, which is all it's ever going to do. And that goes for you too, Luke. That goes for you too, brother. That goes for you too. He wants to enter the political arena. That's perfectly fine. Brother, you didn't do if your Twitter spaces are any indication of how well you address questions, I just recommend you just try to make another bootleg 2 Live Crew album and don't embarrass yourself worse. Your Twitter spaces showed us how you address questions. Can you all imagine Luther Campbell trying to explain interest rates?
Nigga, what?
Can you all imagine Luther Campbell attempting to explain interest rates, housing valuations, tariffs? About the tariffs when Trump do that is, the price of milk. That's not for tariffs, Luke. Really? Because, just the price of Hennessy going up. And no, that's not because of tariffs either, Luke. Really? Well, porn is just, I was at the strip club down in Miami, and the girls is getting skinny. What? These tariffs, man, y'all don't know. The girls at the strip clubs, all they had in their drawers was ones. All they had was ones. And this election, vote for me, because this election I answer the critical question: who gonna feed the hoes? What?
Auntie, chill.
Who's gonna feed the hoes? Scrippers got to eat too. That's the real engine of the economy of Miami. Y'all don't understand. The real engine of the economy in Miami is the strippers. Y'all, we got Disney and some vacation folk, where the vacation folk want to go? They go to the strip club. So we need to keep the economic engine of Miami alive. So I was way ahead of the game. I was way ahead of it. Yeah. The strippers that is the tourism. Look, including Disney World, there's not a strip club within 50 miles of Disney World. That's the problem. They would have more people show up. If Minnie Mouse would do a strip tease, the only thing Daisy Duck is missing is a thong. Okay. Vote for Luther Campbell, because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. All right. So yeah, y'all, just when you thought this year couldn't get any, I told y'all we are not done yet. If you think we're out of the woods in 2026, if you think it can't get, I'm just letting you know this, we're just in the second month. Can you imagine what's coming for the next 10? Can you imagine what is in store for us for in the next 10 months? So do your best out there, folks. Do your best out there. We're going to see about going ahead and wrapping things up here tonight. Let me thank everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo. Shout out here to DMV Nation. Thank you very much for your support, DMV Nation. We appreciate that. To my man, Mr. Richburg. To Zavon Scott, Tom Slick, Kid Gravity. Ain't seen Kid Gravity in a minute. Thank you very much for your support here. We appreciate that. To Miss Make Me a Drink. What? Okay. Well, since you asked nicely. All right, that goes to Miss Make Me a Drink. That one's for you. I can see you are a potential Luther Campbell voter. Yeah, Miss Make Me a Drink. I see that you are a potential Luther Campbell voter. I would not want to stand in your way there, so do your thing. All right, for Quan, Arthur O'Kelly, everybody else here, thank you very much for your support here tonight. If you are new here to the Black Channel, welcome to the Haven of Intelligent Black Thought. We do this every weekend, holidays, some days in between. Click that subscribe button and that notification bell. Join us each and every time that we are here so that you can be on the cutting edge of what foundational Black society is talking about and discussing. If you go anywhere else, you get lunacy, idiocy, and lies. When you come here, you're getting it directly from the source. So join us each and every time that we're here. If you haven't been to our website, blackchannelfilms.com, check out our groundbreaking best-selling documentary work. I want to thank all of you for tuning in to tonight's program live or recorded. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, Black is the future and the future is uncompromising.